Okie dokie. Oh, I don't. That was a weird noise. I hope no one heard that. If you're watching the VOD, I'm sorry. Okay, are we up? We should be up. Let me check. Twitch. Yo! Oh, sorry, I'm missing highs. Yo, Wampus, yo, Tired Miku, yo, Noose, yo, Jackswatch, yo, Oswald, yo, Zarmor. Heard it, sorry. Yo, Durak, yo, Walter, yo, Honke, yo, Muraki Pirate. There are still 5 minutes. Well, you know, I just went live. I was ready. Overcommon, hello. Norto Prime, hi. Kettei here too. Kettei should be live in a bit, I think. Or unless he fell asleep. Sounds a bit like something he would do sometimes, but, you know, we'll see. He should be live. Like, I don't know. I think he's meant to be live. Embers, hi. Lag Valdemag, hello. The Green Saber, hi. Wait, I'm missing highs. Roro, hi. Scott Outpost Investigators, hello. Drasmat, hi. Doofus, hi. Faris, hi. Saltpeter, hi. Senchich, hi. Dos Eggies, hi. Rugmouse, Nuclear stream. Nuclear! I shouldn't be nuclear. Honestly, guys, I want to keep saying hi, but I will tell you, I'm feeling very chill. I'm feeling very zen right now. Anzol, hi. Taz, hello. Chingy, hi. Nine Lives, yo. Josamiko, hi. Jay Kundai, hi. Zells, yo. It's Navy Deep, hello. Where's the leaks, ma'am? Yo. Wild Roar, hi. Tohu Fever, hello. Hope this doesn't get too spicy. And yeah, I hope so. Gene Samples, hi. Keishiguri, yo. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, I'm missing so many highs. I'm missing so many highs. Chonks, hi. Stealth Boy, hi. Flaming M, hi. Momon, Fazza. Soul Phoenix, Little Jamie, Bread Loaf, Rev Junkie. I'll protect your good name forever. Thank you, sir. I feel like I've missed so many highs. I'm so sorry, guys. It's moving too fast. I might just give up. I'm sorry, but I hello to everyone. Hello to everyone. How's it going? New mods, Pog. Yeah, we've got a few new mods on the Twitch side. I haven't recruited on the YouTube side, but YouTube has better like auto mods, I think. For the most part. Oswald, thank you for the sub so much. Thank you so much, bud. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I think I mean I wasn't looking at chat. There was a couple of points where I did look at chat in the conversation that we had a couple of days ago. Between me, Josh, EO, and Kettei. But I kind of skimmed through some of the VOD, and some of the shit in there was insane. So, we've recruited a few new Twitch mods. It shouldn't all be on Jamie, honestly. Sometimes I feel like the community grows so much faster than I expected it to, and then, you know, like, it's just not... We're just not ready for it. And obviously when I wasn't watching as well, yeah. And also, to Jamie's credit, he did own up and say that he felt like he was getting rage baited himself. God bless him. God bless him. But yeah, looking forward to the chat with Saintontas. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to... And look, here's the thing, guys. Right, I'm just gonna go big. We're gonna turn Burnus off because that's not helping anything. I'm feeling very relaxed. I'm feeling extremely relaxed. Okay, and I want to break down what I think happened. And I'll explain this again when we have the chat. The chat will be in about 10 minutes time. So if you're watching the VOD, you're wondering when this is going to happen, it should be in about 10 minutes time. It should be about 10 past 9 my time. But yeah, it's pretty much 9 p.m. on the dot here in the UK. And it's going to be about 10 past. But was I still being made? Jack, oh, did I not make you a mod? I'm going to do it right now, bud. Yep. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, we're gonna add Jack Squatch 97. There we go. We got our boy. Yeah. So yeah, you know, like we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep things easy. We're gonna keep things easy. We're gonna keep things easy. Razor, thank you so much for the raid. Oh my god, thank you so much, bro. Much appreciated. Salami, thank you for the prime. Much appreciated. Oh my god. Welcome in, boys. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, if you don't know who I am, I'm Average.Gamer. I make videos about Zenless and Zero on the internet. Sometimes they're received well. Sometimes they're not. It's been a weird few days. I feel like for the most part, the video was received really well, and there are some arguments as to why it hasn't, and I'm okay with those arguments. I'm not trying to. Anyway, okay, let me go back to what I was talking about before. Okay, what I was talking about before is that I feel very chill. I feel very, very zen, and I think what happened on the call a couple of days ago is that I went into it very hot. I went into it extremely hot because I'd watched a video from... I haven't watched the Flossen video yet, Razor. Maybe we'll watch it on stream. Holy shit, thank you to the AOG support. Flex, thank you for the 5 gifted members, and Daiquiri Man, thank you for the 4 months of membership. Much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. We got your back, ALG. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think I'm just talking about what happened on the call. I think on the call, we got so sidetracked. So you're not feeling zenless? No, I'm feeling extremely zen. I'm feeling the most zen I've ever felt about anything in the history of ever. Genuinely. Because I think... Here's the thing. Like, ultimately, I think Josh agreed with what I was trying to say. I think he was just trying to point out that there's always more that players can do. And honestly, like, here's the thing. Like, him and EO, they're guide makers first. So their mindset is like, what can we do as players? And I guess for me... Like, I kind of started as a guide maker, and then I kind of transitioned into... I don't even know what I am now. I just make things... I play game. I make things about the game. Is Mr. Streamer, are we in the endgame now? Yeah, I think we might be. Yeah. I think I'm Zen. But, yeah. And I think they're trying to think about, well, what can we do about this? What kind of guides can we make? What kind of information can we put out that's going to be useful for the audience? And to be honest, I can't disagree with that. Like, it is going to be useful to think about how we can counter certain things, to tell players when and why they should pull for certain characters and why not and stuff. And to be honest, that's a lot of what my content focuses on as well. But like, I completely understand that perspective. But I think what was happening is that they're trying to push that argument into my point. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I think I came in way too hot, and I should have seen that way more soon. The call was amazing. Did you see the aftermath? Jay Stern joined in and gave his opinion. Nix and Jay Stern gave a new perspective. I did see it. I didn't see all of it. I did see some of it. But yeah, I did see some of it for sure. ZZZ Analytics channel? Is that what I am? Is that what I am? A ZZZ Analytics channel? I believe it. I believe it. Wampus, thank you for the sub. Much appreciated. AGL React arc starting? I don't know about that. Like, I kind of want to go in. I want to have this call. I want it to be a positive conversation, if I'm honest. I do want it to be a positive conversation. But after that, I want to do account help. Guys, I want to do some account help. You're a ZZZ performance consultant. I feel like you're remembering when I told you what my actual job was. Apparently they reduced the overall HP of all of the endgame content on 2.3. Yeah, sure, that's cool. I'm happy about that. That would be great. Yeah, a lot of yap recently. We've got to roll it back. Yeah, exactly. Like, and I'm okay for us to continue yapping a little bit, but I kind of just want to go back to normal. All right. When will the app start so I can pin for everyone to be chill? In about 5 minutes. That's the plan time. But I mean, ultimately, like, it is a bunch of streamers. So I think, things will probably be running a little bit late, and that's okay. I think, as well, like, I think the main thing, and I think the main reason why Saintontas wants to be involved is because he's spoken a lot about Endgame and ZZZ. And I think, to be honest, he probably feels a bit justified with the way that I've been speaking about the ZZZ Endgame recently. So that's probably the angle that we're going in from. And if I'm totally honest, I actually do think we should have sounded alarm bells much sooner. I really do. He just wants to farm. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all content, right? Like, but there is a part of me that thinks it's not bad though. Like, because here's the thing, like my video got a lot of buzz, right? Hang on, where's my thing here? My video got a lot of buzz if we go to my channel, which is nice. But it's also good to expand the reach, right? It's good to expand the reach. So I think the fact that we're continuing to talk about this, I think is only good for the case that I'm trying to make. And the case that I'm trying to make is, hey, let's get together, let's unite as a Western audience, and let's say what we want to say to the devs. And honestly, that's what I did in this video. And if it, and if it keeps getting more eyes, that's great. And if people want to take what I wrote in this video, because it's all pinned here, if people want to take what I wrote in this video and they want to send it on the survey, awesome. The way I framed it is that this is what I'm going to send, this is what I'm going to do. And if people took this and they changed certain things, or they wanted to amend certain things before they put it up, then that's great. And more eyes on this is only doing the situation good. That's my thought on it. Saintontas did have some valid takes. Yeah, here's the thing is that, like, yeah, he might be farming a little bit, but I don't... He's probably going to try and get me to say this, but I think maybe I'll just volunteer the idea that we probably should have raised alarm bells sooner. We probably should have been talking about it from 1.4. But yesterday, everyone from Razor's stream, by the way, hello Razor's stream. But yesterday, I just went on stream with Razor for half hour just for a quick catch up. And he brought up the really interesting point that, like, yeah, maybe it didn't feel right to raise it in 1.4, for example, because we had the huge shill boss of Bringer entered into the game with DA. But if anyone wanted Miyabi, they could get Miyabi. She was on banner for 42 days, plus all of the polychrome in that patch. I think that's why it felt less egregious. Plus, at that point, the HP was a lot lower, so you could still force Bringer with other agents, other anomaly agents, and you could still force it with Ellen, but you would have struggled to break the hand. 35 days? Oh, sorry, I was just straight doubling the patches. My bad. We got your front, ALG. Thanks. Said it 2.0 and everyone called me incompetent. I'm not sympathetic. I think the thing is, but you can be sure he will only try to make it about drama than actually being productive. We saw it with Kettei already. Yeah, but I think the thing is that he was so focused on, and I saw the call that he had with Kettei, obviously. I think we all did. And I think the thing is about that call is that he was trying to really demonstrate the point, hey, the endgame's going in a bad direction. And Kettei was hearing him out and providing counterpoints as to why it doesn't necessarily need to be a big deal right now. But I think we're in a different situation now. They made Fiend harder for whatever reason. Yeah, it was tough to watch. Yeah. It's more important that we have these talks rather than avoidance on some. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I'm zen though. I'm so zen because I've come into this stream with a completely refreshed mindset. I hope you have a fun stream. I agree with your sentiment. I think the major issue is that this problem was very obvious since 1.4, but people didn't want to talk about it because just poor me heavy mindset. I know. And I think we should have been talking about it then. I think the problem though, Yojimbo, is that I don't think the audience was ready to hear it then. And if there's any light at the end of the tunnel, I think the light comes from... Let's just get on the same fucking page about this. It's true, audience was not ready. Yeah, Razor, 07s to Razor. Duma CT. I'm joking, obviously, but yeah, he was raising the alarm bells much earlier than a lot of the other CCs, and he was lambasted for it. 07's for Razor. Until anomaly specifically got affected, I do not believe the community would have listened, TBH. Maybe. That might be true. It might be true. I'm about to Zenless. My favorite part of Zenless Zone Zero is when he says, it's Zenlessing time, and then he Zenlesses everywhere. Crazy. That's my favorite part. It's crazy how much fun that is. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna check Discord. Yeah, so it looks like Nyx is already on the call. So it's Nyx, Kettei, and Saint. All right, I'm gonna go in. We're gonna say hi to Nyx. Are you getting your Zenless everywhere? I know. Okay, so the call, I think I fixed the source, so I should be able to show the call on stream. But I'm gonna join the call and say hi to Nyx, and then we'll go from there. All right, boys, wish me luck. I'll try and be interactive somewhat, but yeah, hopefully this won't be longer than an hour of yap, and then we'll be back.
Oh man.
Bonjour.
What's up, brother?
Yo, how's it going?
Not much.
Oh look, everything worked.
Let's see. Talk again.
Hello, it is me, and I am talking. I like talking. Some people say that I talk too much. Some people... okay, cool.
I think everybody...
Nice.
Hello, Nyx, how are you?
Hello, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm just asking you to talk so I can turn your volume up.
Understandable.
All right. I think I got you.
Ready.
Hang on.
I'm going to make one thing clear.
Okay.
I'm only here to keep everybody on common ground and level-headed, because that call should not have happened the other day.
What call?
When y'all had got in beef the first time, that should not have happened that day.
What beef? Was there beef?
No, the call that happened the first time when it was you, Kettei, Josh, and Io. That call should not have happened that time.
Why not? Why do you think that?
Because you came in heated already. They came in with their own stuff. It was not the time to be having that conversation.
Yeah, I'll be real. Yeah, I came in way too hot. I was literally just talking to my stream about it beforehand, like literally before we came in to this call, and I was like, I feel like I got so obsessed with defending what I was saying that I was just not able to listen to what they were saying, and I think we're just talking about two different things. And I think that's okay. And it's okay to talk about both of those things.
Yes, but when the whole point is to have a constructive discussion that was not happening, then there was no point of having the call.
Bro, this is... Oh my god, bro. There's a guy in my chat right now that's been like shit talking Saint this entire time, and then they hear your voice, Nyx, and they're like, oh my god, is that Saintontas? How they... Bro, how the fuck you gonna shit talk someone and not know what the fuck they sound like? Like, bro, like what the fuck? That's nuts. Dude, that's crazy. Come on, Luke, do better than that, bro.
But I guess the thing is though, Nyx, is that I was invited to join the call and I said yes. And yeah, I just watched a pretty inflammatory video. And yeah, I came in hot.
And I understand why you came in hot, or why you were heated in the first place. But I'm saying, in general, that should not have happened. Like that call, you were not ready to have that call. They weren't either. That was not a good time. It really wasn't.
Okay. Is now a good time?
Everyone seems pretty chill, so I think it's fine. I'm just here to keep a level playing field. That's it. That's all I'm here for.
Are you representing, I guess, what EO and Josh were saying?
I can break it down as to what they're trying to say.
Sure.
I can break it down where they're coming from. So my background, I play a lot of these games. I have a very large variety of gaming experience throughout every single genre, right? And back then, there was no gaming was, it came out, you had to deal with it. You know, there wasn't really a big thing as like patches and, you know, like, oh, wait for this to get nerfed. And that was just the way you had to grow up with. You were just like, if a game dropped and it had some bullshit, it wasn't going to get patched out. You just have to deal with the bullshit. Right?
So we're talking about like pre-gacha or?
This is just
just games.
Like anything.
Just games. Yeah,
just games in general. Because like the idea, or what is it, the culture of like waiting for something to change and being vocal about changing is very recent. That's why like today, instead of having game testers as like an actual job, we've moved to the open beta scene where they just get feedback direct from the player. Because they value so much of like, okay, we need to be able to change what needs to be changed. We need to listen to our audience so we can get it right.
Yeah.
Back then it wasn't like that. So their mentality, or at least EO's mentality, because that was a big thing about fighting games, his mentality is, I just got to deal with it.
Hey, yo, what up, boys?
What's up?
Yeah, my bad, guys. I gotta go take a break real fast to go grab some water. I think our Discord. Yeah, okay, awesome. If any of you guys are streaming, I highly recommend getting like the Discord icons on the stream. Like just while we're like setting up. You can just take a look at mine. I use like this website where like you connect your Discord account and then you can just make a browser link.
I already have that.
For it. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
It's already up.
Oh, okay, never mind. I should have. I'm a dipshit. Okay, I'll be back in like 5 or like I'll be back in like 2 minutes. But yeah.
All right, all good.
All good. All good.
But yeah, like that's where their background is of like, I just got to deal with it. I got to adapt. If there is an answer to something, then it is possible for me to adapt to it. It only becomes a quote unquote problem if there's no answer to something. That's his mentality. That doesn't work in gacha. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Now it works in some gacha. The difference between other gachas and this one is when a character releases in other gachas, that character is always available. You always have a chance to get that character.
I think
in Hoyo games, you don't.
Yeah, I think as well, like yeah, sorry. I feel like I understand what you're saying. I feel like I was going to go off on a slightly different tangent there. I'm just not going to. Because I think that was the problem with the conversation yesterday. It was just tangents into tangents into tangents. And I guess the call hasn't started properly yet. But yeah, I just.
No, you're free to go. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It hasn't officially
I don't want to
started.
tangent into tangent into tangent. But and also I kind of forgot a little bit now because I've been. I'm zen today. I'm very zen today.
All right.
I mean, I'm chill, bro. I'm chill.
We're chilling. We're big chilling.
So yeah, that's basically the angle that they're looking at this from. Of like, as long as there is an answer, then it's not something to be crazy worried about. Which has a little bit of truth to it, but also is not healthy for the type of game that we're playing.
Yeah, and I think with the nature of it being like a live service game, it's like we don't have to lock ourselves in to the idea that we can't as an audience, vote with feedback, vote with our wallets, and kind of say what we mean and then stick to it. I think we can make change if we want to. I mean, to be honest, is Hoyoverse going to listen to us? No, probably not. But like, I think they would definitely listen to a united Western audience rather than a fractured audience that can't make up its mind what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent, possibly, because you got to remember, the people who are talking right now, we're only the vocal minority. Like it's they have, and this is why I don't like when people who are having this discussion. Some people tend to take the vocal minority as the majority, and they start speaking for the majority. We don't have any evidence or any like numbers representing that this is the vocal majority feeling this way, because the vocal majority doesn't even touch in-game.
Well,
They
yeah,
log on, play story, get off.
So
right?
if the vocal majority doesn't care, then why can't they why can't they change the end game for the people who do?
We don't know.
Well,
That's something that
so why
only
can't we
they
try?
know.
That's what
But,
I
but, the, but
All right, guys. My bad to interrupt, but I kind of just wanted to, because I kind of just like me and my viewers, we kind of just like jumped in. I was wondering if we could take like a really like quick, maybe like 1 or 2 minutes, just to like set the tone for like what the call is gonna be for, kind of like the agenda of what we're gonna go through. Because I feel like you guys are like getting like bits and pieces of it, but it's like I guess I'm not super sure where we're at right now.
No, I think that's fair. Kettei,
Awesome.
Kettei, I think maybe you're in the best position. I feel like I was already getting involved.
You want me to like start from the beginning, brother?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Oh, I was just thinking,
Like a quick one.
yeah. I'll just do something really fast, and then let me know if there's anything crazy. Cause, okay, yeah, we'll just kind of like go from there. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am joined here today on a call with a bunch of Zenless Zone creators, some of the best players of the game, as well as, you know, some really notable CCs. We got Average Luck Gamer over here on the side. I've actually got a stream popped up right now. We've got Kettei the 7th in the middle. Very great CC for account reviews. And of course, Nyx GX showing up on the very right over here with that Giga Chat. He kind of looked like Hulk. I'm not super sure. He's one of the best players of ZZZ I've ever seen. And this conversation is happening over here as a bit of a follow-up to a prior call that occurred before in the ZZZ community, where I feel like there was a lot of takes that either went unheard, there were some takes that people felt confused about, and there were some opinions, right, that maybe felt like they were getting overshadowed based off some of the arguments being brought up. And so I thought that we could all gather here today to sort of, you know, just lay the groundwork for what everyone's actually trying to say, so that all the misconceptions can kind of be put to bed, and, you know, have a bit more of like a united front moving forward, and you know, actually figure out what the root problem of the situation is and some ways to solve it. Yeah, I know I was yapping a lot, but just wanted to kind of like set the tone for everybody coming in, just so we have like a right foot to start off of.
Well, you can start off with, this is not our first time talking, Saint. We got company this time, but
Absolutely.
this is not our first time talking. How long ago was our conversation? I could try to find it.
I
It was
think our
3 months ago.
It was
Four.
about 3 months ago.
Four.
It was 4
Four.
months ago, and it was on the topic of HP inflation. And so I think,
Mhm.
Kettei, something that we could maybe do is like revisit some of the takes and some of the, like, I think you would know best the arguments that were made on your end from over there, because I think it is similar to the conversations that I think EO and Josh were bringing up the other day. Those were the other two CCs involved in the conversation. I think we'll be trying to invite them on later on to kind of like explain their viewpoints, but just kind of get the ground zero situation sorted out first.
Almost got the pronunciation right. You're getting there. You're getting there. You're getting better. It's Kettei.
Kettei? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
remember
getting
that.
there.
I'll remember that. My bad.
But no, remember the last time we talked, I immediately opened up the conversation by sending you charts to show you like how much HP increased for Shiyu Defense and Deadly Assault by the time we
Mhm.
talked 4 months ago.
Yep.
And that was just an objective fact. Can't deny that.
True.
Now back then, one of the big points I was bringing up was it did need to increase to a certain extent, because the game was way too brain dead in the past. In the past, it was just extremely brain dead. But then I said immediately after that, I said, okay, but now the question is, to what extent did it need to increase to give a fair challenge while also not being too restrictive?
And it feels like, to a degree, I feel like the general consensus from I would let me know if I'm putting words in your guys' mouth. I feel like the general consensus from you three on the call right now is that we're getting to that tipping point where it's going from necessity to overboard. Maybe not quite there yet, but it's getting noticeable.
Yeah, it's not quite there yet, but you can definitely see in the future, if it goes unchecked, it could potentially become a problem. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another like pretty big problem is that and this is maybe like slightly too in the weeds, but like just for people who probably are maybe watching this who know a little bit more about ZZZ, like it's more the HP inflation combined with the over shilling for the newer characters that makes it feel so, what's the word? Egregious? Or potentially egregious. And potentially egregious at some point.
It feels like you're really being heavily promoted to spend money on the game to be able to do the things that you were able to do before. Is that too much of a stretch?
I think there's more elements to this besides just HP inflation. I think that's the big issue here. Because over the past updates, the HP has increased, yes, but also resistances have increased.
True.
We have a boss who only has, instead of the normal 150% damage multiplier on a stun, it's 125. You have like the ice res has been increased, the defense has been increased, anomaly buildup has been decreased. Like, it's so many other things on top of HP that's like, hold on, like this is a little nuts. If they kept the same resistances and just increased the HP, you would not feel as big of a difference or like as over shielding as it is if it was just that versus everything on top of what they already added.
I think you bring up a fantastic point, Nix. I would even dare say it might be a more beneficial idea for the community to get away from the idea of HP inflation as a whole, because that was the main component, right? That was the most noticeable, just looking at one number go up. But it's just all a bunch of different factors that are essentially leading to this same idea of a fight taking longer, or it simply takes longer to clear, and there are a lot of different levers or factors that are contributing to that. Things like certain bosses having a strict resistance to an element, strict resistance to a damage type, like there are some bosses, right, where their anomaly builds up slower, and stuff like that, where it's just all these additional restrictions that are, I think at a baseline, it's taking what used to clear for you before, and it no longer clears.
It's certainly getting there. And I think that, like when I was talking about the over shilling, I was kind of dodging around it a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty much all those things that Nix mentioned. And yeah, I think it would be good for us to move away from HP inflation as a whole, because it's not just HP that goes up. It's also, like resistances, anomaly debuffs, defense, and all of that is a form of like shilling different types of agents.
Yeah, and then you can even like think of like enemy specific mechanics, right? Where it's like, I think there's like it's the vampire TD where it's like it showed up in like Hugo's story. It's the guy that you want to like you want to like parry him like 7 times, but it's like, you can end up to a point where like your parries like don't break unless you're using impact characters or like stun characters. It's like, I think those mechanics are somewhat okay, but they kind of lean into it a little bit more as well, right? Like feeling like you need a specific character type to be able to tackle the mechanic that the boss is performing.
And to an extent, stuff like that is okay.
Yeah.
But if it's not directly available to majority of the cast, then it becomes an issue. Like that Hugo boss that you said, like Tepes, when you have to parry a bunch of times, right? The trick to beating him is bringing a character that has a heavy parry. So there's heavy parries and light parries.
Yeah.
Heavy parries take 1 assist point. Light parries take 2. Most characters with heavy parries are stunners and people who have heavy weapons. So like Stokaku has a heavy parry. Nicole's, like her box cannon, she has a light parry because it's not a heavy weapon technically. But that's not immediately explained to a lot of people, which is why some of the argument before was, hey, you guys need to teach these people like, hey, you have these options. This is what the game has, because this game is a bunch of reading that people don't really want to do, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, I was gonna say, like, in relation to what you were just describing with the heavy and light, one awful thing that I experienced was I believe that lighter and Lycon both have light parries. And like that boss is one that I guess you're intended to fight with Hugo. And one thing I noticed is that using the Hugo and Lycon team, I would run out of the assist points with like what feels like is the intended team. So it's even like in situations like that where I'm like, oh, this feels like weird.
Well, that's another thing that's not explained, right? Because I use the same team on someone's account. And so if you didn't know about Tepis for like specifically, a lot of his attacks, once you parry the first one, you don't do the defense. You know how you can do a defensive assist follow-up, right?
Yeah.
Like after you parry, you don't follow up. You let him attack again, and your character will automatically parry again if you don't press the button. And that's how you get around that, to doing multiple parries with characters with light parries.
Yeah, that's not explained. Yeah, okay,
Yeah, it's
okay.
not
So
explained.
I guess it's just there's a shocking lack of clarity. Like, so I guess there's a shocking lack of clarity about how to like navigate certain mechanics that are, I guess, perhaps adding like almost like an amplifier, right, on the effect of like the shilling, where there might actually be ways to conquer certain issues, but it's like you don't know them because the game doesn't tell you, right? I think that's a topic that a lot of ZZZs, CCs have discussed before. I think like, yeah, it's actually been one of the #1 topics. So, I mean, it's just a lot of the new mechanics getting added, a lot of the stuff going on. I think it's just to like kind of like, I guess, focus down the topic a little bit. This is one thing that I feel like in the discussion that you guys had yesterday, right, where you're going around, you're talking about the deadly assault getting a lot more restrictive, all of that. I feel like one topic that was talked about was, the whole anomaly versus attack situation being like, oh, Miyabi's been the character, right, that kind of ruined Deadly Assault from the beginning, right, when she felt like she was a necessity for Bringer. I know there were some updates made where they made Bringer like physical vulnerable as well. But like, I think that was something that Jay Stern brought up in like in the follow-up call that you guys had. The game's always been this way, and now it's just shifting from anomaly favored to attack favored, to sort of like, break the meta a little bit. One question that I just like had across that entire breakdown was just, why does ZZZ need to have damage type restrictions on top of the elemental ones, right? Because if the boss is resistant to ice, you're just kind of at a baseline. You're not really going to bring anybody on the ice roster in there because they're going to kind of suck. And then on top of that, they're also immune to stun or anomaly. It's like, I guess to me, it's just, why is there a need to have these additional restrictions on top of a baseline elemental one?
So I can explain this from a business perspective.
Okay.
I'm one. A little bit of my background is I love, like, I'm studying to be a business analyst. That's what I do, right? Mm-hmm. So when I look at something, I look at it very objectively, and I'm like, okay, hey, this is probably their decision for this. From the beginning of the game, Anomaly is the class that takes advantage of every single element in the game. Attack, not so much. Anomaly uses the anomaly gauge. They do days with disorders. They take advantage of stun. Chain attacks do high buildup. Like, the game is designed for Anomaly. Attack agents, they only get to use the stun meter and chain attacks, really. Until we had they realized this problem that everyone was going into like an anomaly focused type of play style, where they were just ignoring stun. They were just doing so much damage that it didn't matter. So their first attempt at fixing it was, let's try and put in someone like Trigger, who gives you the stun multiplier outside of stun, and you could just play your character on field. That'd be the attack version of an anomaly character. But guess who was abusing Trigger more than attack characters? Anomaly characters.
Anomaly agents.
And it didn't make it any better. So, okay, what's our next solution? Let's try and make off-field attackers. We got Orphe coming. We got Seed with the dual DPS type. Like, they're trying so many different things to fix the problem, because at the end of the day, you can't really nerf a character type directly, or else you're gonna get shit for it.
Yeah.
We saw that when they nerfed, was it Nuvolette in Genshin? And
Yeah,
people were
they
like,
made his
"Iffy?"
tornado. You couldn't schizo out using it anymore.
Right,
Deal
and people
more-
got
deal more
pissy
damage.
over that. So they're afraid of that. So they're trying to indirectly nerf these like anomaly characters and push attackers so you have a quote unquote balance of the gameplay, and that's not a good way to approach it. Because
Yeah,
then
because
it feels like shit.
One thing they've been doing, right, is putting in hidden debuffs on the enemies that aren't visible to you at all. Where like they'll just take less anomaly buildup, or anomaly will build up slower on them. I think Miasmic Jane was the first example of it, who ran alongside Yazuha, who increases anomaly buildup. She had like a debuff in the back end that made her just take less of it, and then Yazuha came in and basically undid that debuff. And I guess the thing is, it's just that is actually that's a little bit different from the framing that they did before, right? Where they brought in Anomaly. Anomaly was just very strong and worked very well with the mechanics of the game, and so everyone played Anomaly. Now it feels like they're shilling attack, but then also, while shilling attack via the buffs, they're actually adding in either just straight nerfs or like indirect nerfs to Anomaly at the same time. Is that because I feel like that's something that is actually happening, or am I wrong about that?
No, it is. And
Yeah, that
you
is
gotta
happening.
think what happened when they added Trigger. The characters that were using Trigger the most were anomaly characters, because it just helped them do their damage normally just a lot better. So
Yeah.
their second attempt is like, okay, we're gonna try this again, but we're gonna make sure that attack feels just as strong as anomaly.
And to do that, we're also going to bring down how Anomaly does at the same time.
To make sure that anomaly can't abuse what we set up for the attackers. That's why Siege
Gotcha.
passive is you have to have another attacker on the team.
Gotcha. So attacks getting raised up, you got the shield buffs, all of that, and then Anomaly's also being brought down at the same time. Gotcha. Okay, so I can see where it's coming from when it comes to like a business macroeconomical sense. They don't want one of the archetypes in their game to be absolutely useless and overshadowed. I guess the thing is that I guess that take that Hoyo's been doing this the entire time probably isn't actually correct then. I know that's something that Jay Stern said. I'm not out here to like challenge the viewpoints that people are making. Maybe more of like a clarification, right? Hoyoverse hasn't actually been doing this the whole time, because before they were just shilling Anomaly. Now they're shilling attack and then also bringing down Anomaly at the same time. So it's like, I do feel like if there is like a new reaction from the community, I understand why they're freaking out more now versus freaking out when Miyabi released. I know that this was a point that you guys talked about as well.
When Miyabi did it, everyone was fine with it, right? Oh, it's because everyone pulled her and they were fine with it.
I think it's because all they were doing was making her stronger. But now they're intentionally making the Anomaly characters weaker while shilling attack.
And
I guess that's just my explanation for why the community seems more outraged this time.
I would say the reason why Jason is still correct that like everyone didn't have a problem with it when Miyabi was doing, because Miyabi was doing everything. She
True,
was
true,
doing
true, absolutely.
anomaly damage, and then she was shitting on everybody with her
Crits.
enhanced basics.
Yeah.
So like she was a crit anomaly character. She was doing everything. So no one had a problem with it because the answer was, oh, just use Miyabi. You know, she's slide in everything. Now they take away your answer, the thing that you've been doing for a long time, and you're like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. Well, I put in all this investment in my character. Whoa, hold on, this is not okay.
And then the other dynamic is that Anomaly characters kind of only work well with other Anomaly characters. And so chances were you probably skipped a lot of attack agents because, well, you need a stunner for those. For Anomaly, you want other Anomaly units. And so I guess the game plan for a lot of people was just pulling all Anomaly, right?
Yep.
That was actually a recommendation probably from like, I know you guys keep up with the meta, right? Like pull value, all of that. Wasn't that kind of actually like the proper recommendation if you were trying to maximize an account strength?
I think
Yeah,
my community
because
refers to me as
anomaly-
anomaly pilled gamer. So yeah.
Yeah. Anomaly pilled gamer. Okay. I'm glad that we're kind of like getting some of the context. We're breaking down where the sides are coming from. I think one of the goals of this conversation was to just like figure out why there's such a strong feeling in the community for or against the mechanics. And I think the context that we just provided over here of this is a matter of both shilling an unpopular element while also intentionally nerfing the popular one, it makes a lot more sense why the community right now is reacting a lot more than in the past. Yeah. Okay.
And
So,
that's the
oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I have to also say I'm trying to find it right now. Okay, I found it. 10 days ago, I made a community post because the day after the new Deadly Assault boss defiler came out, I saw a lot of discourse in my Discord. People were verbally upset about the boss. And so I made a community post asking people to tell me, like, did you like it? Did you hate it? And there's 422 comments. And just looking through the comments quickly, you can easily tell that the people who have mostly anomaly agents are very upset, and the people who have mostly attack agents are very happy.
And so, if you were punished for basically pulling the... So, right now, you are a player who, if you followed the meta recommendations and you judged your pull schedule, who you're going to pull on based off the actual strength of the characters, you right now are basically getting fucked.
To an extent, yeah, you are.
Okay, so you're doing everything right, and you got fucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like unless you are playing enough to where the anomaly like de-shilling doesn't matter to you, then you're gonna feel like, hey, this is a little crazy. Because I took my anomaly team in the defiler, I still got 45k. But like I still felt it because I was like, normally these characters are OP. So what is going on? Like this doesn't feel like I'm just playing, like how I normally was before. Because they're so heavy on shilling attack. Like even before, when DA first came out, they were shilling anomalies so much that like every single anomaly buff had an anomaly build up like thing added to it. There has not been an anomaly build up buff in DA since forever. You don't even see that anymore.
Well, they made a character for it. She's called Yuzuha, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that was, but then after they released Yuzuha, they were like, okay, we're gonna increase the overall anomaly buildup to where you just need to invest in an anomaly, in like AM, or just put on Yuzuha on the team.
So essentially, anomaly at like a baseline got nerfed, and then Yuzuha kind of undoes it. But if you don't have her, you actually are worse off than you were months ago.
It's either you have Yuzuha to cover your bases, or you can use Miyabi in very specific scenarios. Because those are the only two characters with the highest anomaly buildup in the game right now, besides Atlas.
I think it's also important to point out that for months and months and months, ever since Miyabi came out, people were saying that attack slot 6 was best on Miyabi, and like Nick said earlier, almost every anomaly buff in the game for Shiyu and Deadly Assault was anomaly build-up buffs. So yeah, just attack slot 6 just felt infinitely better. But the moment they started increasing the anomaly bar, people started realizing that, oh wow, anomaly mastery feels way better on Miyabi now for a lot of bosses. Now you can get away with attack slot 6 on some bosses, but AM6 makes for her rotation significantly smoother on a lot of bosses nowadays.
So I guess it's like back in the day, 7-8 months ago, there was an optimal Miyabi build that, based off the actual conditions of the game, every single reset, it was to run attack 6. But now, because of external changes that Hoyoverse has basically made to the overlying environment, now AM6 is better. But nothing has actually fundamentally changed with like Miyabi or her teams.
Not necessarily. Besides,
other than Yuzuha, that's about it.
Well,
yeah, okay.
Besides the ability that they took away her ability to freeze, which is one of the biggest things about Miyabi.
Oh yeah, that sucks. They're making a lot of bosses just completely unfreezable.
Oh, so they killed the Lycon Sukaku team. You can't use it anymore.
They didn't kill it. They just made it way harder to use. It's not dead.
I when I played in beta 2 and I saw how freeze was operating, I was like, if they don't be careful with this, it's going to be broken. And then Miyabi came out and they showed the mono ice. Someone did the mono ice team, and you're freezing the boss during the stun window, because when you freeze a boss during the stun window, the stun timer freezes, and you can still do damage while it's frozen.
I see.
So,
Didn't they
like-
learn from Genshin Impact?
No, but I wouldn't. Saying that Miyabi's mono ice teams is dead is a huge stretch, because even against enemies that she can't freeze, hell, my buddy R2, who's a content creator in the space, even he was able to beat the new Defiler, who's ice resistant with no Miyabi Sig with Lycon Sokaku. So saying that it's dead is a huge stretch, but it is definitely getting harder to play.
They removed one of the most noticeable or fun mechanics from it, because I'm just going to be real here. Freezing a boss during a stun window sounds very fun. I'd feel like kind of like a badass if I pulled it off. It sounds like there's a lot of like timing and stuff involved. Bit of an advanced mechanic. That's why I've heard a lot of people call the freeze Miyabi Lycon Sokaku team one of the hardest ones in the game. Right? I think someone even came out with like a fucking 40-page Google Doc on how to play it properly. I bet they're fucking themselves right now. It's just, I guess to me, it's just, it seems like there's been a lot of stuff happening in the background that is causing a lot of like these shifts in the present. And I think it's fair to say that all of this stuff has been boiling for quite a while. Now it's coming to a head with, I guess, this DA. And now it feels like a lot of skeletons are getting let out of the closet. Because I'm going to be real here. A couple of things I did know. A couple of things I feel like I'm hearing for the first time. And I feel like I've kept somewhat up to date on the space. Not like entrenched into it, but at least somewhat up to date.
Like it's a lot of things that are coming together to make that big problem of like, there's too many things being added at too fast of a pace. And honestly, again, from the business perspective, one of the greatest things that they did was when everyone was talking about, hey, you got to teach these players how to do some of these things. The next update, they added new tutorials of like the more advanced mechanics, like the assist counter and the double chain and that stuff. They added that, so it's like, oh, okay, they're listening. They're trying to hear us out. We need to teach these people more about the game. But I think they took that and was like, okay, they got it. Let's push it up. And it's like you don't throw a test at someone after you just gave them, like the basic foundation of what you're teaching them. Like that they don't know how to apply it yet.
Gotcha. So it sounds like they gave partially the resources required to upskill yourself as a player, and then immediately after providing the resources, they made a lot of stuff harder. And it's like, well, there's a good chance a person hasn't actually taken the time to develop what's needed to actually clear this. And it's like, okay, right. And then the skill level as a whole in the game is rising as well to clear baseline content.
I will say, like, I will also like just quickly say, not every DA rotation is gonna be like this. This is just one of those DA rotations. This is probably the worst one we've ever had, in my opinion. But like, not every DA rotation is gonna be like this. It's
aren't they gonna get worse? Because like, isn't Rupture, wink wink, isn't that what's coming up next?
Oh, you mean the next boss coming in 2.3?
I'm just saying, like, the next couple of characters, right? It's another attack agent, then a Rupture agent, then so I guess if it's like, if we're viewing this situation as people are pissed off because their anomaly characters aren't, I guess, shield anymore, then isn't it just like, well, it's attack, and then rupture. Isn't anomaly like still just going to be like?
I think, to be honest, if we look at the trend, even if we're saying that this is the worst DA yet, and maybe it might, like like if we look at like the DA HP graph, like just overall, you do see that they tend to go up, and then there's a dip the following DA. But I guess what I'm saying is that like it's trending in a dangerous direction. Is how I feel about the whole thing. And I think I've made that pretty clear.
Yeah, but you gotta also remember there's 3 bosses every DA rotation. Like Miasma Fiend is an anomaly boss, and like they are in this rotation right now. So like saying that you can't use the anomaly at all this rotation is just a complete lie.
It's just you feel like you're only able to use it on, I guess, one of the bosses, where it feels like it doesn't feel like dragging your balls through sand.
No, if it's more so anomaly feels pretty okay, like pretty good, pretty okay, depending on the specific anomaly team you have against Fiend, and it is not impossible, but it's just harder to use them against Priest and Defiler, but it is definitely not impossible. It's just a little bit harder.
Yeah, completely true. But it's and again, like when we take that in context with the direction, like I think that's what concerns me, and that's where I am about the whole thing. That's what my whole video was about.
Okay, so I guess we're ready to move on to sort of like part number 2. The call was sort of like supposed to be partitioned into 3 separate areas. I'm not sure how well of a job I did at guiding that, but I feel like we have been able to firmly establish at least what the take is. We've talked about all of the different concerns. There's shilling, right, of specific character types. There's actual systemical, like system nerfs that have been put in to make certain attack types or damage types feel worse than others. And it's all kind of like coming together with the new character banners, all of that, and it's just making all of the past investments people have made not as valid. It's doing a lot of things to just piss players off. And the thing is that right now, at least in the current spot, it's not something that is like ball busting enough to like completely ruin somebody's experience, but there's a lot of people who used to clear that aren't clearing now. There's a lot of people who only pulled anomaly agents, right? Because they were the best ones in the game, literally. And now they're finding out that half of the roster might feel like it's a little invalidated by some of the system changes that have been made. And it's just a lot of these people are getting frustrated, rightfully so, when they're getting told things like, oh, it's a build issue, right? Oh, it's because you're not putting in the time to learn the teams. Oh, it's you're not putting in the time to learn the best rotations ever, the best cancels ever, or, experimenting around with like different Disc 6 tech because of unannounced changes that have happened in the back end for anomaly buildup, right? It's just, I feel like there's a lot of this whole, one side is coming in saying that you can still do it. It's just, here's like a laundry list of things that you can do to fix it. The other side is, oh, I've been doing shit this way all the time. Nothing feels like it's changed, like, relatively with, like, my investment or my roster, but all of my teams are doing fucking worse. That feels like shit. And now you're asking me to do more work, put in more effort to solve a problem that I had nothing to do with being introduced, other than just playing this fucking game. And so, let me know if that's sort of, like, how the two sides feel right now. I'm not going to go ahead and be out here saying that I feel like the other side, saying that there's a solution. I don't want to say that they're like malicious or that they're like intentionally trying to just, be toxic positive, but that's how it ends up coming off when the player, right, is like tanking all this fucking shit from the devs, right? They're just like fucking tanking it. And then you're asking them to put in even more work, right? Or put in even more effort when they didn't do anything to create this problem in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I think, for me, I would say that, like it's a combination of all of those factors coming together that resulted in me feeling like, okay, the game is feeling, and I said this is my opinion in the video that I made about it, the game feels less fun as a result for me. Mm-hmm. And that's my take, and that's how I felt about it, and I wanted to send some specific feedback around all of these things happening at once. And then, as you pointed out, I'll be honest, I'm coming at this call completely from a place of zen today. I think a couple of days ago, there was another call, I got a little bit heated. But I feel like from the other side, from the other CCs that we were talking to about this on that prior call, I think that they're just guide makers trying to do guide maker things. They're like, and maybe I came in taking their arguments in bad faith, but if I'm looking back at it now on good faith, they're just trying to help the player base to navigate this, while I'm trying to start I'm trying to make the player base follow me into battle to fight trying to bring it. Yeah.
I think the way, let me know if I'm incorrect about this. I heard exactly what you're saying, and this is how I would put it, like as a summary. you're trying to identify, call attention to the problem, and fix it. You're basically the guy that's trying to perform like surgery, right? And then it seems like EO, Josh on the other side, they're trying to like put a band-aid on it, right? They're trying to come up with like some sort of like, stopgap solution that'll like get you there. But the underlying issue is still going to be present. It can come back and it could potentially be worse later.
Okay. And that's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. And yeah, like upon having time to reflect, like I said, the prior call, things got a little bit heated. But I think if I come back at it and look at it from a good faith perspective, they're just trying to, like you said, like put a band-aid on it and be like, here's how we can help players with it. Whereas I'm trying to say, well, here's how we, as a community, if we could be a united front on this, then we can present that as our Western audience, and maybe CN takes notice, and then maybe something fucking happens. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, so this is just some additional context that I wanted to provide. ALG posted for all the individuals that basically not involved with the situation, and just the viewers. ALG was involved with making this video over here on his channel. My honest thoughts on Zenless Zero's Endgame. Josh reacted to it, so did EO. And, well, ALG said he came onto the conversation the other day with Josh and EO a little bit hot. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'll just share my take. I don't want anybody to think that ALG was irrational in coming onto that take or coming onto that call with heightened emotions, because this is Josh's reaction. I'll let the dislike ratio speak for itself. Let's just say ALG uploaded a 5-minute video and Josh pulled a notepad for a 5-minute video. And, well, there was a lot of stuff that went on. I can understand. I saw parts of this react, and I was like, I can see why somebody would be upset by this. If you look at EO's last stream title, the title of it is, "You are being lied to about HP inflation." This stream is done immediately after ALG makes his video on HP inflation in the Endgame. So ALG just went onto a call with somebody who is calling him a liar in his stream title. And the other person is, well, this is their reaction video, and this is the like ratio on it. And so it's just, hopefully you guys can like understand the context of, you can probably tell ALG is a pretty chill guy right now.
Zen.
I feel like you were kind of pissed. And
yeah,
let me just be honest with you. I would be fucking pissed too if I'm about to hop onto a call with two people. One of them's calling me a liar in a stream title, and then the other one, the reaction wasn't that good. So that's some of the context for why he was a little bit heated. Put yourself in his shoes, ladies and gentlemen. You would be fucking mad too.
And so,
obviously,
quickly just point out, this is, no one should be sending hate to anyone. And I also want to say as well that both Josh and EO have reached out privately, apologized for some stuff, and it's all everything's okay between me, Josh, and EO. And you kind of heard me earlier. Like, I'm a pretty chill dude. Like, I came into this conversation and like, one of the first things I said was like, they're just coming at it from like that guide maker perspective, and that kind of made me feel like my points were invalidated. And yeah, like Josh's video didn't help coming in off the back of that, but yeah, like I think that's like, no hate to anyone, no shade to anyone, we good.
Yeah, and my take, I've already said it yesterday, I think I've said it a couple days before, was that if that conversation had started with EO and Josh, taking some accountability, again, it's just, I think this is just weird calling you a liar in the stream title. If they had started off the conversation with like maybe an apologies or just an address to, the stuff that's obviously causing some controversy, I think the call would have gotten off on a much better foot. But naturally, right, that's a conversation for a different time. That's a conversation for like reflection, just like my overall takes on the issue. And of course, right, the chats, the people interacting, they were all kind of like a little bit, I can imagine that your chat was probably pissed off because they saw the entire thing, your live reaction to it on their end. And then, the call itself just, didn't probably go in the way that it should have.
I'm just a firm believer that nobody was ready to have that conversation in the first place at that point in time. It's like, if you are heated, you should not be going into a conversation where even if you were heated and they gave you an apology, most people who get heated like that aren't ready to hear an apology. They're already set on, I have to defend myself. True. So I think after I would have heard that, I would have been like, okay, now's not the time for me because I'm gonna go in furious and I'm gonna feel the type of way. I feel this way. I'm not gonna do it. I think that is the correct way to approach that, and I think that's partially why all this like it just didn't go anywhere that day, and now that's why we're having this discussion.
So you're calling me out though next, right?
Well, no, I'm saying both sides had a part to play in this. They shouldn't have like Josh took way too long to get to the point, so he was basically fuming. You're already like, they're not listening to me because he just kept like making all these extra points versus just us saying, hey, he feels this way. This is how this needs to be, and then EO doing his clickbait of, you're being lied to. This is what's really going on. I get how that would piss you off because you were just expressing how you felt. You didn't feel heard. But if that pissed you off and it made you feel some type of way, I don't think you were ready to go into that call because you said you were invited to the call, so you made a decision to get into the call. So
yeah,
even if you weren't ready,
I think there is also a part of me though. Like, no, let me just finish. Sorry, I should have let you finish. Honestly, next, I'm sorry there, I cut you off. But yeah, I think what I'm saying is that like, I was feeling incensed, I was feeling attacked, and I defended myself. I think if I could do it again, I think I would approach the conversation differently. Sure, yeah, but I would still go into the call.
I think that's a fair one. I think that's a fair one. Just like kind of coming at it from like the CC angle. Sometimes you feel like, I mean, I'm gonna just be real here, man. You felt fucking disrespected. You felt disrespected by close colleagues. And, I don't think that's the intent of any person involved. But that's what, like, happened, right? And it's just, sometimes, like, this might be, like, toxic masculinity talking over here. But it's just like, I ain't going to let him get away with it.
Can we
go on?
Can we get back to ZZZ?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I feel like, I feel like we completely lost the purpose. Can we get back to ZZZ?
Yeah. So this was basically like the context that was like leading up to it. Just like talking about the dynamics on the call, but then also getting into where you think that there were misunderstandings or bad arguments that were kind of like laid out and how you want to like, I guess, put a cap on some of the points that were a little bit, some of the points that were either brought up on your end or the points that were brought up on like the opposing side's end. Because I do think that there were a lot of ones where it's like a lot of situations where people were like, oh, like this is how, or like I kind of understood what you were saying, but I also didn't get like the full message of what was being said. So are there like any, I guess, conversational lines that you guys can recall? There's probably been a lot of reflection done. Are there any like certain conversation points that you wanted to like just bring up to address further?
I think it's not really that different to the way I summarized it earlier. I think I'm coming at it from a perspective of, look, if we can present like a united front on this in terms of like feedback, in terms of us feeling similarly as players, or even if we don't feel exactly the same way, if we can get on board with the idea that the over shilling plus HP inflation is not good for the future of ZZZ, then we can send feedback to say so. And then if nothing happens, nothing happens. But at least I can say that we tried. Sorry,
I guess
ahead.
what I'm digging into is every single time I might be summarizing it improperly, so let me know if I'm off base here. It felt like oftentimes during the call when you and Kettei were trying to like bring up a point or like talk about this is why XYZ thing, HP inflation, this is why shilling anomaly or shilling attack, this is why these things are bad. You would be met with like a response of, maybe well actually is the right terminology to use here, but it's like, well actually it's a build issue. Like, well actually it's like, you could just like do XYZ other things instead. And I feel like maybe the main point to really like hit on is it's like a game, right? It's meant for people to like have fun. And when you're at the point where you're like telling players that they need to do all of this stuff that they don't find fun or they don't find enjoyable to get to like the level that they were before, to a like level of enjoyment that they had before, the whole idea of like it's like it feels like we're playing a job instead of a game, right? And I think there were a lot of like counter arguments that were like constantly brought up to like reinforce this idea that there's all this stuff that players can do. And so if you feel like everything's been like settled, all the stuff's kind of been like aired out and there's nothing to really explore more, no problems. But I do know there were a lot of counterpoints that were given that felt like they weren't 100% addressed, but maybe they got addressed later on. So I just wanted to have some of the time there to air that out.
Yeah, I guess if I'm honest, yeah, I feel like I was coming at it for the most part, like from a feeling perspective. And the feeling was the game feels less fun because I feel, because you can kind of, it's like seeing the ones and zeros, right? It's like, it feels like you're seeing behind the system because you're seeing like the overt chilling in action, and it makes your current teams potentially feel less fun, and it also potentially would put players in a position who were close to being able to clear or almost just clearing through no fault of their own, just like the HP going up potentially, that they then couldn't because they couldn't force a particular team against a boss. And
and the sorry.
No, go on. No.
I was gonna say it's like you had like this DA clear or this Shiyu clear in front of you. It gets taken away as a result of the devs' decisions on how to balance the game or like engineer its systems. And then now you're being told it's like also actually your fault because your build sucks, or it's actually your fault because you didn't pull this one character.
Yeah.
That actually you should have pulled a couple versions ago. And
again,
you're just like, okay, bro.
And again, I feel like Josh and Io were coming at that from a perspective of, we're guide makers. So how do we help the player base, And it's like that band-aid fix versus trying to change the direction or something.
Gotcha. Okay, so I guess the main objective for me on that end was to bring up maybe some of the specific examples of what exactly was, of like what exactly like entailed guide making. So I think after we covered those, it's become like crystal clear, right? These guys are just trying to, Josh and Io, they're just trying to go ahead and help the players as much as possible. Your approach is let's help to solve the problem that's causing all this for players. And I think those are two entirely separate things. One's mitigating the damage. The other is trying to, like heal it or like move on or prevent the damage from happening again. And I feel like I do think it's important to talk about the idea of if you're in just a permanent state of mitigation, and mitigation is always what you're doing in situations like this, then there is going to just be you are eventually going to get to a point where it's too much, right? And I feel like part of your argument and part of your approach is like we've been doing a lot of mitigating over the past couple of months, and it's just at a certain point we have to say that enough is enough.
And look, I know. Okay. I think due to, unfortunately, saying Josh and Io's name multiple times here, it seems like a lot of people's chats now are going, okay, look, let me say this. Josh and Io are my friends. We've had our disagreements in the past, but they are my friends. And like AOG said, we hashed it out afterwards. Them trying to help, there's nothing wrong with them trying to help the community.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I just want to make sure that we're not sitting here trying to slander their name.
I just want to show you my chat right now. People are just asking for Josh and Io to be on the call. Like there's I just want you to know there's like not anything crazy going on like in any of the chats right now. We're chilling.
I see it in my chat, so I was just wondering if it was in other people's as well.
All I'm gonna say is my chat's chilling. We're just I don't think we're not even talking about them.
But just making sure that we're not slandering their name. Like Josh and Io, they both understand AOG's points. They both understand where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
They just, as you said, guide makers. They just want to help and like see if there's anything they can do to help people get over the hump now if they're struggling. So there's nothing wrong with that.
I guess
I want to say this. I want to say let's change the term from guide makers to problem solvers. They are approaching this in okay, there's a problem. How do we fix it? Like us sitting here and like I guess in their minds, this is an assumption. I'm not gonna say this is what they're actually thinking, but in their minds, like if there's a problem, let me find a solution before I talk
Yeah,
about it.
exactly.
Like
Exactly.
that is their mentality. When LG's mentality is there's a problem, let's address it.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. It's like, hey, you're a farmer. You got a wolf coming in and taking your sheep. You got Josh and EO over here who grab the gun to go shoot the wolf. And then you got ALG who's trying to build a fence
Yeah.
to keep the wolves out.
Exactly. Like
Okay.
I
like
we
that.
stopped it this time, but ALG is like, let's stop it from happening all the time.
It's like, what happens if there's 5 wolves next time? We might be fucked, boys. So we need that fence.
So
Yeah, I'd say
both
that's-
sides are coming from.
Why
a
did you?
place
What the
of-
fuck? What? Why do I have, bruh? Why did I just picture EO picking up a glizzy and going out to kill that?
Oh my god!
Jeez.
Y'all got photos of that? That's
Oh,
I didn't
no.
know you guys were friends like that, but it is what it is.
No, I just pictured that in my head.
But let's establish that both sides are coming to this like attacking this issue from a place of good. It's not like, well, you're wrong, and this is like it is. Someone's approaching it as let's solve the problem, and the other person's approaching it as let's prevent the problem from happening again.
Perfect.
And-
And just, I was gonna say, quick timeout. Kettei or Kettei. You meant Blicky, right? Not Glizzy.
Yeah, my bad, brother.
Okay, like
trying to-
that
I'm
changes.
I'm babysitting my niece right now, bro. I'm trying to multitask.
I was about to say that literally changes everything about your
It
statement.
does.
So
You're
I
100%.
just, I,
That's
okay,
my fault.
I'm glad we clarified that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I appreciate you.
All right,
I'm
for
I'm
sure.
literally trying to babysit and do this at the same time. So,
I'm
hey,
sorry.
hey,
Nix,
you should
you-
laugh. You should laugh. That is funny when you think about it. Yeah, 100%. You should laugh.
I'm sorry, Nix. You were spitting, but it was like when you heard what Kettei was saying before, I was just like, why you picturing him picking up a glizzy, bro? Like why are you doing this?
Wait, no, that actually makes it funnier.
Look,
if you
It
think
does
about
make it
funnier.
It makes it-
So, like,
if you think about it, that makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it gay, bro. That's why it's funny.
you see how I kind of just like tried to keep going? That should let you know that this is just normal Kettei. This is just normal.
Yeah,
for
you
him.
had
He's
it was
just-
like you and ALG, no reaction. I was like, that was like the gayest thing I heard in like 2 months. What do you guys mean, no reaction?
Bro, like,
Oh, man.
yeah, me and Kettei talk pretty regularly. That is, I've heard him say some pretty out of pocket shit.
Oh yeah, the community says that we're married. So like, at this point we can't escape it.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
Well, Hey, I guess we're all learning new things on the call today. All right. So, yeah, problem solver approach, right? And I guess I one of the main reasons for why I'm kind of like bringing in some of the names in the conversation, right, is because I wanted to relate it to other names in the space. You guys are, and I'm gonna keep this as civil as possible. You guys know who Mr. Pokey is, right?
Yes.
unfortunately.
You guys all remember Greedy and Stupid.
Mhm.
Of course.
And is it a stretch for me to say that there are little bits and pieces of the Greedy and Stupid argumentation, which is essentially HP inflation and power creep is your fault because you have the tools necessary, you have all the resources available to counter it, but it's like, it's a matter of like you're deciding not to actually use them. You're deciding not to put them into practice. And so you're only suffering from HP inflation. And it's all your fault because you're not doing these things. Right? I would say that's like a summary of the take as a whole. And overall, right? I'm just gonna be honest, right? That was not really like a well-received take across the space. I think there are a lot of people that were rightfully so very, very frustrated with that take overall because of how, player blamey it felt. And I know the term player blame was something that got brought up a lot. And there were obviously, right, strong responses of, that's not what I'm doing. I don't think that was the intent at all. But I think to a certain degree, it's more of just like a bit of a reflection point for CCs to recognize that, like, when the company literally is making the game worse for you. ZZZ here, for an example, right? And then we're, basically, it doesn't feel like we're putting enough accountability on the devs while telling the players to do more work to solve the problem. I think that's when the negative impressions can form. And maybe part of it is just like the messaging that's involved with like Josh and EO in approaching the situation. But I'm just going to be real, right? It does feel player blamey to a degree. And I feel like that's not their intention at all. And maybe just like a bit more of just like a forward sort of, I mean, part of it, right, is a stream title of "You're being lied to about HP inflation," right? If they were just a little bit maybe more like balanced and didn't seem this like pro Hoyo in that approach, I feel like it would help the messaging a lot more. Because I don't think it's a coincidence that was like, I mean, like there were even people on the call, right, that were saying it was player blamey as well, right? I don't think it's a coincidence that that's occurring based off the line of reasoning we're hearing from them.
It's because the line of reasoning is centered around this is what you can do to make yourself feel better.
But this problem was caused by somebody else. And I guess it's just like, just more of like that upward, like that forward declarative statement of this is not your fault, but this is what you can do to not get fucked so hard by this. That I feel like is just a bit more of like a point that like more of the community can rally around, because I don't think you guys are necessarily on different sides. It's just problem solvers versus solving the baseline issue. And it's just, I think it's complicated, but I think we're getting closer and closer to finding some sort of medium.
I do feel like the last time we talked, though, Saint, one of the big complaints was that we talked in circles, and I think we've done that a few times already.
You feel like we've talked in circles right now? I mean, to be honest, I was just looking at the outline over here, right? My schedule was establish what the take is. Second, find out where the misunderstandings and the bad arguments are coming from. And I think third is, I feel like we're on number 3 right now. I feel like we wrapped up number 2. The third objective for me was think about actionable solutions to send out a feedback form, right? That was step 3. I feel like we're ready to go for step 3 because I feel like we got all the context on all the issues. But if you feel like there's something else that we should cover, open to it.
No, what was your third point again?
Oh, third point is getting on into some like actionable solutions. To send out a feedback form.
Solutions.
Yeah, like actual like things that make sense, things that don't seem like cracked out, like things that you could put on like 1 or 2 paragraphs and then like actually send it, on like the mailbox feedback forms that come out every version.
Yeah, I mean,
just AOG, don't you have yours that you put in your video?
Yeah,
what was it again?
I mean, I put it in my video, and yeah, it's I don't have it to hand right now. I can pull it up, but I guess like there are maybe things we could change about it if we think that that's relevant. But I think if I'm honest, like like the reason I did what I did is because I was saying, look, this is how I feel about the game. This is the feedback I'm going to provide, and you can do whatever you want with that. So I guess I'm not trying to like tell people to put what they want, tell people to put the same thing. Like people can adjust what I've written, that's fine. But I think we do need to, I think we should be feeding this back. And if we can all like agree on like a common thing to write, then yeah, I'm completely down for that. And also like spamming the devs with 2 very similar messages in back to back a few days apart is completely fine with me. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, I pulled up your video again to see what you wrote, and I'm already beginning to see that there are probably some slight adjustments that should be made over here based off the conversation we had. If you look at your feedback, it's on my screen. HP inflation is like the main point that gets brought up over and over again, right? And I feel like we've kind of like come to like the conclusion, right, that it's less so HP inflation, but more like certain types of content are taking longer, and there's a variety of factors, right, that are leading to it. And so I think maybe getting a little bit more specific about some of those examples, right, thinking about the shilling, the back-end changes being made to anomaly to, change the build-up, all of that. as well as, and I think this is like a big point over here, like literally, right? Like one of the solutions that I've been toying around with is the idea of just lowering score thresholds to the degree where maybe the HP and stuff, it all just, because isn't this the solution, right? The HP all stays the same, but then the score thresholds for whatever, you get more points for the damage you deal. Like that's also like another way to approach the situation, right? Just basically make like the polychrome level scores more achievable, and then still leave those giga sweaty 120k plus clears for those that are, you know, willing to take the time to either spend or refine their rotations to that degree. And like maybe even like stuff like that, right? Like that's kind of like what I was thinking in terms of like the feedback list, like literally actionable things, like levers that Hoyoverse could like pull. Because to me, I feel like that's the stuff that sticks the most. Like imperatives, go-dos, that sort of thing. And you know, I think maybe if they get spammed with enough of those, like literally being told to do certain things, it will to a degree stick.
Yeah, and like to be honest, like this is the kind of position that I hope that the conversation would go towards. Is like, okay, like, you know, there are some issues in what I wrote. I wrote it on my own. I didn't run it past anyone. I think it was already pointed out to me that, you know, dolphins and whales that's written in here might very well get misinterpreted, potentially mistranslated if it does actually make its way to anyone who could do anything. So yeah, like I'm completely open to the idea of like, yeah, adding more stuff in by all means, and yeah, proposing solutions. Yeah, I'm 100% down.
Yeah, all right. But I guess with that context, it would make the most sense for you guys to lead the conversation because yeah.
You said leave or lead?
Yeah.
Wait, did you say leave or lead?
No, for you guys to lead the conversation. It would make the most sense for you guys. The like the meta gamers that like go onto like the people's accounts and like, you know, give them advice and stuff. So you see exactly where they're struggling. Like I feel like you guys are the best well equipped to lead the conversation.
Well, I can tell you that even though this DA is significantly harder to a lot of people, all the reviews I've done in the past week, like getting 9 stars for people hasn't really, I personally haven't really felt it. And I think a big reason for that is because, do you already know this or not, saying? I think you do, but getting 20k, like with HP increasing, it affects people getting high scores more than it affects people getting 20k, because the first health bars of a Deadly Assault boss are less than the last health bars. Yeah, a lot of people would assume, if you never looked at a graph, if you did 30,000 damage score, because 60,000 damage score is the max, if you did 30,000 damage score, you did half of the boss's health. That's not true. It's closer to 38,000 damage score to do half of a boss's health. So it's easier. It's harder to get high scores with HP going up, and it does make getting 20k harder too. I'm not denying that, but it makes it's not as egregious as trying to get high scores as it is getting the 20k.
Yeah. I mean, I completely understand that, right? And there were a lot of situations where people would literally kill the Deadly Assault boss, right? Using like non-M6 teams. I'm pretty sure, like, to a degree, the HP inflation is there to not allow that to happen, to make it so that killing the boss does require significant investment. I'm perfect. I'm actually not averse to the idea that, like, there's more HP inflation that directly, I guess, feeds into like the whale clears, because maybe I'm just off base with the past videos I've seen, but I've literally seen non-M6 teams killing bosses. And so if the idea is they literally want you to be M6 to kill bosses, that to me isn't too wild, because it's like at that point you're sort of just like it does feel like killing bosses, in my opinion, is a whale privilege. It's just have that in there, and then also, you know, make the 20Ks way more achievable for people, and let the sweats do their nasty stuff with those bigger scores later down the road.
There are signs to that as well, like that kind of point to that being the case of, like, you're not supposed to be killing these bosses. You had Inferno Reap Infernal was a mode in Hollow Zero where you're supposed to do as much damage as possible, yet people were killing the boss. Didn't expect that to happen. In the next update, they added Deadly Assault. And they were like, yeah, you can, 3 different teams, and all you need to do is get 6 stars to get the max poly rewards, and the other ones are just extra. People were killing the bosses. So I feel like that was a trend of them underestimating the power of their characters and the power of the player base. So now they're trying to slowly, or no, I don't want to say slowly, secretively, increase it to where you're not supposed to be able to kill those bosses anymore. And
yeah, sorry, no, next, carry on.
And it's getting to the point where people are really starting to feel it of okay, this is not what it's supposed to, especially when Mono Ice first came out, and then they were just murking everything, and it was like, okay, this is not cool. This is not.
It's definitely true, and I think that's part of the drive to change it. But just to not get it twisted, it's not like that doesn't affect the people who are just trying to get the 20k score. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
If we look at the, I've got some calcs up on my stream at the moment. If we look at the 15k score for Priest last DA versus this DA, it's 16.3 to 13.6. So it's still like a 3 million and something difference, which works out to about 18% difference. So yeah, the HP goes up by 20, but you don't see all of that 20 in those first health bars.
Exactly, and that's what I was trying to say, right? I think it wasn't it 17.3 when you first did it. It was it was the HP went up.
I used a percentage difference calculator instead of doing it in my head this time.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the HP went up by 20%, but it was actually just 18% harder to get the 3-star.
Quick question: is 5,000 typically the max performance points you can get on a clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's at 15k damage score. That's what I'm working on.
I was gonna say, it's I'm gonna be real here. I feel like the idea of attaching a max performance score to a 20k score almost fundamentally doesn't make that much sense, right? Wouldn't it make more sense for their PP to be smaller? Sorry, that came out.
Good job, Kettei.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so Saint's turn to be gay? Gotcha.
He's turned into Kettei point 2. Yep, good job.
All right.
Their PP should literally be smaller if they're getting a 20k score, because I would assume, right, if you're taking that long, or maybe you're not that good at the game, maybe you're not that good at getting their performance points, right? Wouldn't it make more sense if they were getting 50% of them or 75% of them? Because if you're already on the edge of clearing, it's I don't know if I would expect that person who's on the edge of clearing to be an absolute freak getting every performance point as well. Or are they really brain dead easy to get? You're almost guaranteed.
Some of them.
So there's some bosses where the performance points are basically guaranteed, and there are some bosses where the performance points are extremely easy to get, and then there's other bosses where you have to actually try a little, and then there's other bosses, aka the Butcher, where if you don't have a disorder team, good luck getting performance points.
Yeah, you ain't getting it. Your PP gonna be zero.
Yeah, so it depends on the boss, really.
Gotcha. Okay. And so I mean, in that situation, right? Then if in a situation where your PP is really tiny, you gotta do a lot more of the boss's HP.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
I set you guys up. I
know. I lost. I couldn't stick with the PP thing, but yeah. Just to be clear though, yeah. If we put in 20k versus we just ignore the performance score altogether and we put in 20k, it's still about an 18% different. It's just it's 18.18 instead of 18.0 something. It's it's barely any difference at all.
Okay. Just something I wanted to keep in mind, because it's that's a good 1/4 of the score, right? So in situations where you're telling me that you could theoretically actually have 0 just because of the team type you chose.
Well, the function of the performance points, like Kettei said earlier, most of them are to encourage you to fight the boss's actual mechanics.
Yeah,
like Marionette breaking the clones. Typhon doing his parries. It's supposed to encourage you to engage more with the boss instead of just meatheading through the fight.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is, if you're somebody that's getting 5k PP, from my point of view, you would be somewhat knowledgeable about the boss's mechanics in the first place. Like you would be like you would be somebody who's educated and like knows the moveset. And in that situation, I don't really feel like that person that's that well educated on the boss's moveset and is like putting in that much work to grind out the 5k PP would be on the edge of clearing.
Well, then, but again, like that's why I said like some bosses are free because like Miasma Fiend, like you kind of have no choice to get the 5k performance points.
Oh, you like have to get it on. Okay,
you kind of have no choice because it's a big like what 25-second cutscene and you just gotta dodge 3 times.
Yeah.
And you automatically get the 5k performance points. There's literally nothing you can do.
Gotcha.
You have no choice.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm glad that we clarified that. That was just something that I kept in mind because I was just like, wait, why is somebody like maxing out on like the style points or like the technical side of the points while also like not dealing any damage? It was like a little bit of like a juxtaposition for me, but I guess it makes a lot more sense knowing that some of them are a lot more automatic. Okay. So yeah, I guess the whole, to bring it back, it's like the whole like DA points, that sort of thing. You're saying that HP inflation in DA is mostly an impact on those trying to kill the boss. I feel like it's I would say it's a somewhat unified viewpoint that people don't really care that much about how hard it is to kill the boss. And I feel like there's not a lot of people that are like maybe freaking out that much about whales needing M5 instead of M3 to kill the boss. That's what I would assume. That's what I would assume. But at the end of the day, right, HP inflation can sometimes not have an impact on those trying to get the 20k, but at times it can have a noticeable impact on those hitting the 20k. And it's really just all about, right, like, if there ever is a point where they really do need to, like, bump up the HP like crazy for whatever purposes they have, putting in, like, you know, lower score thresholds or something like that. Or, I don't know, making it like 10k PPs that you can get in a run instead of like 5.
Or even just being more aggressive with the scaling. Like, keep the HP the same, but be more aggressive with the scaling on the lower end so that, or you know, like, basically get more points more quicker earlier in the fight. Which, like we've already talked about, is the case, but we're still talking about, you know, like an 18% difference in, like, damage score to hit 20k versus after a 20% change.
I think it would be interesting if they took it as a route of, instead of, because remember, like we said, it's not just HP, it's all these other things added into it.
Yeah,
know?
true. Also true. Yeah.
If they took it in a way that was like, okay, in the first few HP bars of the fight, the bosses have normal stats. And then as time goes on, as you start doing more damage, the stats start increasing on the boss. Of like, okay, he has a little bit more defense or he has a little bit more resistance. Now you have to play around these. And it makes it more, because a lot of the a lot of the mindscapes of these characters are like, oh, this character ignores 15% ice res, or this character ignores such and such defense, or stuff like that. So like, it makes it more of a whale type challenge or a build type challenge to, the further I get, the stronger the boss's stats are going to be, and I have to play around that because I can't keep doing the same rotations over and over again. And that would challenge the sweats, but it would also make the early game people, or the early on people, do what they need to do and still feel good about what they're doing because they've already learned, like, okay, this is how I'm playing this character. And they don't have to push that high score anymore because they got what they needed.
I think go for it.
I think another thing is, there's a lot of people in my community, I think AOG, we've talked about this, where they're not necessarily struggling at all to get 3 stars on DA, but they're on all the bosses, but they're still very upset right now. And that's because they may have went from a 45k run, and now against the exact same boss, they're at 38k. And it's like, yeah, that's still a very good score, but it's the same boss, same team, and they played the same. They didn't change any of their gear, but now their score is lower. And there are people who, you know, it's just, it's upsetting to see your score get lower. So I can kind of understand their point of view. It's like, I didn't do anything different, but now, my score is going down.
I have a question regarding that, Kettei. Do you guys think that's more so focused on the idea of, oh, my already passing score got cut by 33%? That's one take on it, right? It's just they're pissed because their already passing score or their already passing score got lowered, or is there more of like they are now fearing that because they're now in the 30K spot, they could easily slip to under 20K? It's probably a mix of both, right?
I haven't really seen anyone say that. I do try to keep up with my comments as much as I can. I haven't really seen anyone say that, but I have seen multiple people say it's just sad to see their score go down. It's like, but they're not struggling at all. It's just they said it's just sad to see their score go down.
Because it's just I would dare. Oh, sorry, LG. Let me just make one last point. I would dare say if there are the people out there who are crying. I don't want to really use that term, that are complaining, rightfully so, about their 45K going to a 30, then imagine all the people that are at 25 that are now at 19 or 18. It's kind of like, it's the same exact feeling, but those guys aren't getting polychrome.
Yes, they are. You get polychrome for 14K. All you do is do 3 14Ks.
Okay, let's say it was somebody that was doing 2 3-star runs because they only have 2 teams built. They were doing 2 3-star runs, and now they can only do 2 2-star runs. I think that's a very reasonable place for a lot of players, especially knowing the investment in this. You build out teams instead of like individual DP. Like, I think you build out teams first in ZZZ. So I feel like most people, if they're getting the polychromes from DA, they're doing 2 teams and 3 stars. I feel like a lot more people are doing that over 2 teams with 3 stars versus 3 teams with 2 stars. I might be wrong, but I feel like that's the approach most people take, and that's kind of like the people that I'm talking about here, going from 25 to 19.
Go ahead, LG. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, and I think like just to support that argument, I just saw someone in my chat saying like I had 3 teams that could 25K, and now one of them can't on this particular reset, and that sucks. It means they're not getting the 9 stars. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not getting the polychromes, but there is an element of like completionism that comes with completing the end game, and like it just feels bad, man, when you're getting those 9 stars and then all of a sudden you're not. And I think, to be honest, like the amount of polychrome that's tied to DA is so minimal anyway. I don't really think that's the reason that people play it. People play it to enjoy and like play the end game content. And I think that everyone should be able to play it and enjoy it.
Someone put it best in my comments the other day that they don't play DA for the score. They don't play DA for the polychrome. They play DA because they themselves as a player have goals. And I think that's perfectly reasonable for someone to have their own personal goals for their account. I think that's perfectly reasonable. So when they said that they're still getting 9 stars, but their total score went from 150 down to 120, that's still very good, but they said that they as a player want their account to be better. Like that's their goal for their account, right? And I feel there are people who feel that way.
I think if you're somebody that is like committed, or like you play a gacha game every day, I feel like that's like the default emotion to have. I don't feel like there's a lot of people who like go in and they're like, yeah, I don't want my account to be slightly better in some way. Like that's why like the gear grind, the RNG in like your disk drives or your echoes, that's why there's such a like big draw, right? Because it's, somebody could potentially feel like they're improving their account to some degree with like, every single bit that they're spending or like every day that they're logging in. So I think what you described is just a very normal sensation for a lot of gacha players. That's why they play these games for so long. Otherwise, I don't know how they would be able to.
Yeah, it's almost like if you take playing Monster Hunter, because they're kind of the same genre, right? You play Monster Hunter, you kill a Monster Hunter boss in 7 minutes, and then you're working on your builds and you're playing. That same boss has not changed, but now you've killed it in 5 minutes instead of 7 minutes. You feel good about that. If you put this in the concept of Deadly Assault, you may have cleared with 150K score, like Kettei said, but then you get upgrades and improvement, and the next rotation comes around, resistances are increased, HP is increased, and you don't feel like you made that improvement because they've already, I guess, outmanned you of your improvement. And it kind of feels bad. It doesn't feel as rewarding because you're not keeping up with the same speed of what they're trying to accomplish. And that probably ties into what ALG is saying of like it's feeling less fun because if I have my own goals of getting to this point and I'm improving, but the game is also improving at a faster rate, then or increasing at a faster rate, then I don't feel that improvement anymore.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I did enough.
It feels like you're on a treadmill to a degree. It feels like ZZZ is kind of putting some of the players on a treadmill where they're advancing their account, but then they're like increasing the speed of the treadmill. And so it's like you put in all this work, you know your stuff is better, but it feels like you're not going anywhere. Is that too much of a stretch?
That's essentially what's being said. Is like you're working on improving, but if you're that's like lifting weights. If I'm lifting weights and I just did my full like I just got to 20 pounds on each side basically, right? And then before you're ready to get fully comfortable with that 20 on each side, they dump you with another 20. And it's just like, oh shit, like I have to keep up. It doesn't feel rewarding. You don't have enough time to enjoy that like sense of progress because they're already moving fast and you feel like you have to keep up. And it just gets suffocating for some people because they have their own goals.
And then in the conversation we had with me, AOG, and our good friends Josh and EO, I brought up the fact that these buffs are they're kind of lying to people. So good friend of the channel, Jay Stern, I was watching his stream the other night, and someone was asking about their Ishwin and why she didn't feel as strong as she did on release, and they said, is it because of HP inflation? And Jay Stern said, no, the buff's not there, because that buff that's tailor-made for Ishwin is ridiculous. And I remember I brought up the point I saw on Reddit. Someone just got seed. They made a seed Corrin team. It was a seed Corrin trigger team, I believe. They didn't post any of the gameplay, so I couldn't see that, but they just posted the score. It was 23,000 points, but I did see that they were using the seed buff. Well, that seed buff is kind of ridiculous for seed. Now, imagine if that buff is not there in the future and they haven't improved their seed quarantine. It might be rough. So, like, sometimes these buffs can accidentally lie to players on how good a character actually is because the buffs are so insane. And then when you take the buffs away, you really feel it. Like, on top of the HP, on top of the resistances, you take the buff away too, now you really feel it.
Like how you mentioned the Miyabi stuff. Remember how attack Miyabi was the thing and it was because of all these buffs, and now it's like, oh shit, I just feel bad.
I guess to me that almost sounds like a fundamental like systems problem in ZZZ, where it's like it genuinely does feel like, from what you guys are describing, a good portion of like a character or even like a team's viability is like whatever the flavor of the month DA buff the devs have decided to put in. And it's, I mean, this is, I guess it's like the thing is that maybe I'm out of pocket, but I feel like a lot more people would probably be happier with the baseline content is 20 K'able without even factoring in a buff at all. That would, I feel like that's almost like a what the ideal situation is for most people, and then the buff allows you to start reaching like those higher score thresholds. But right now it just sounds like a character is usable if there's a buff that lines up with them, and then they could just decide we're not running this buff anymore, and now all those characters suck. Is that like kind of?
I wouldn't say they suck. I would say your characters just overperform, and then once that buff isn't there, they just get brought back down to reality. So, like, a good example, right? I was on someone's account because I wanted to test out a M1 Seed, M1 Astra, M1 Sambi team on stream, and the goal was 55k. because
Mhm.
you know all characters had their signature and all characters had M1. And I was like, okay, so 55k should be possible.
Mhm.
Picked the wrong buff at the beginning, and I didn't realize it. We got 47k, and I was like, oh, okay. But then someone in chat was like, Kettei, the buff, and I was like, oh. I put on the right buff, instant. I think it was 12 to 13k more damage first try. That's massive. See, like getting 47k without the dedicated buff is still very good. It's like it's not like that team was bad by any means. It's just that buff made that team overperform.
Well, I guess it's like,
Severely.
wait, was this? Did you say it was an M6 character?
No, M1s.
M1 characters. Okay. I mean, I guess it's just like, you know, we all know how damage calcs in this game work, right? There can be a lot of like exponential buffs where it's like, I feel like there are a lot of like broken fucking I feel like ZZZ has a lot of broken M1s. That's my take. I feel like they have a lot of like game changing ones in like the first two for a lot of characters. And like, you know, with like quadratic fucking damage scaling and like how the buffs can all like interact with each other and shit. I know like ZZZ's like attack stat actually like works off of like your in attack or like your in combat attack, different from like all the other Hoyo games. I imagine like, you know, there's a lot of like shit going on in the back end. Were you using a buff with the other setup that just did not do anything? Like it was just basically sitting there as cosmetic.
It only gave a small buff for that team after you use an ultimate, and
Gotcha.
C teams don't ult very often.
Gotcha. Okay, so it was very close to cosmetic, but you got like a tiny little bit.
It was there. It definitely helped a little. I can't say it didn't help a little. It didn't help at all, but
Yeah.
it was nowhere near as good as her first buff.
Naturally, right, with the 13k score. Okay. So I guess it's like, for me, I think that there's a bit of an issue at a baseline where you're at the point where it sounds like you can take M0 teams and get 3 stars without buffs. Maybe that is exceptionally like kind of sweaty stuff you need to do, or maybe you need like some pretty cracked disk drives to be like at that point nowadays. And I guess like if there ever gets to a point where it does feel like, or there probably are some teams where it does feel this way, where like you need some level of buff to get the 3-star clear in the first place, I feel like that could be a really problematic, right? When it is really just as easy as not having the buff anymore, and now it's going to feel like certain characters are out of commission completely. It doesn't sound like that's the case currently, but from the way that you described the fall off of Yi Xuan, it sounds like it could be very easy with things unchecked for it to get to that point, like extremely easy. And this is the thing, right? I'm going to have to bring in another game for a second over here. That's how it is in Honkai Star Rail, where you have like DPS characters that were before 3.0, where you were allowed to use them once in a blue moon. ZZZ doesn't have as much of an issue with this because you get 3 different buffs to choose, so you have way more opportunities for like the usable archetype to come up. But with like Honkai Star Rail and like its MOC, you get 1 buff the entire time. It's like, or for an entire month, it's like, yeah, you get to use certain characters like 2 times a year, and they can't they like cannot clear otherwise. So that is just like, and like that is something that I feel like is just, you know, that's got to be held in the back pocket naturally, right? I don't think ZZZ is necessarily there, but that's just something that has factually happened in another Hoyoverse game.
Well, Ishwan specifically, her quote unquote fall off for some people in the community is more so she went from feeling like a completely broken character with her tailor-made buff to just very good. Like she's still very, very good. She's still a very, very, very good DPS. She's nowhere near, you know,
like
mid.
barely scraping 20k.
Yeah, she's nowhere near that. It's just her buff is so insane for her that she genuinely feels completely broken when she has it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess it's like, you know, this is where I think a lot of like the idea of like doom posting comes from. I just really want to be upfront about the fact that like, I don't really think you can call it doom posting when there is a literal track record that does exist, right? And I feel like it's a really important thing for the community to at least be hyper aware of what the warning signs are the writing on the wall, seeing what the buildup was for Hoyoverse to effectively start adding in a lot of like locked characters that you can't use until they tell you can use them. There were warning signs, right? There was a buildup to when that occurred in HSR and when that occurred in Genshin Impact. It was a gradual progression, right? And I think the thing is that a lot of individuals are now clearly beginning to see that there's a similar sort of progression currently happening in ZZZ. And well, once again, right, we cannot say that it's there until it's there. Oftentimes, it's too late to just call it out after it's happened. There's a reason why Genshin and HS are in the way that they are. It's because people waited until after it happened to call it out. And then the games never got better. They're the same as they are. So I guess it's just more so like a bit of like a PSA over here, not really like an objective or anything. It's just, I hope you guys are like ready to, I don't know like what you guys want to do, right? When like the warning signs are there, I think they're already here already personally, but it's like, you know, I feel like there's like a bit of like just like a, how are you guys going to respond? And I feel like that's going to be a really important metric for the community because they'll look to the creators in the community, right? I think ALG, Kettei, like Nyx, I think you guys are some of like the biggest and most prominent voices. Obviously, EO and Josh as well. I think you guys as a whole are some of the biggest and prominent voices, and people will like look to you, at least on the EN side, to see what your reactions are to all of these ongoing developments over time. And when it came to HSR, they had Mr. Pokey, and he called them retarded. He called them greedy and stupid. And that's just like, well, the track record's already there, and it's just like, I would hate to see another community kind of like get into like this very toxic positive mindset moving forward, when in actuality, right, it doesn't have to be that way. And I feel like you guys have already done a fantastic job by addressing this issue between each other, having the calls in the first place, even if they didn't end out in the best way, because it at least shows that you guys are willing to have a conversation. And I do think that there's like a productive future ahead for the game. It's just, it is, I'm just telling you guys all of this as somebody that has seen 2 games, literally, unless you're spending hundreds of dollars, like they do not, like hundreds of dollars of like a patch, they like don't feel playable. And that is the reason why a lot of people have just like completely quit HSR. They completely quit Genshin. It gets exhausting keeping up with the stuff. And when you see another game starting to head the other way, right? Naturally, I was one of the people on the front lines. You could say potentially like call it out too early, or you could just say I was a fortune teller. Whatever, right? It's up to you guys where it goes. And I feel like you guys have the right sort of head screwed on your shoulders to navigate this very well. And I just want you guys to, you know, realize that potential that's there. It's just, we've seen a horrific crash and burn the last time this has occurred.
I
And I
feel
think that's
like
fresh on everybody's mind.
I just feel like there's so many more. Like we can compare the other 2 games or the other games to this, but I feel like there's much more of a complexity, a complex issue going on versus HSR, because this game is not as limited as those. Which
Yeah,
means
yeah. HSR and
there's a
Genshin
lot
have
more.
3 buttons.
Yeah, like there's a lot more that goes into play when we're talking about like, okay, what's happening with this game. And that's something that is kind of hard to define across the people playing the game.
Yeah, I guess the argument that I heard for why HSR's HP inflation power creep was actually good was because the game had a lack of complexity, right? And because HSR had a lack of complexity, the only way to scale the end game, right, was to add more HP and stuff like that. And I think the thing is that naturally that argument falls apart for ZZZ, yet we are still seeing HP inflation, right? And of course, all the other factors as well. But ZZZ is naturally a more complex game. It has way more levers. And so why does it feel like everything, like the solution to everything is just making stuff take longer, making things have more HP, or making things take less damage? And it's like, well, it's kind of like the same stuff that we're seeing in HSR, but yet the defense of it's a turn-based game. And so this is the only thing we can do to make it harder or to make it scale. That defense isn't necessarily there, right? And I guess to me in ZZZ, it really feels like this is being done to like both A, really push forward certain types of purchases, but then B, also make your past purchases feel worse. Because I genuinely do think that probably if you pulled a bunch of anomaly characters, you feel like they're probably worth less than what they were 3 months ago. And like in practice, maybe that's not the goal, but that's kind of what's happening. And like to me, it's just a matter of like, well, is there an excuse this time, or is this inexcusable? Because HSR, they use the 3-button thing as the excuse. In ZZZ, it's similar sort of things that really feel like they're heavily pushing the on-banner unit and also making previous on-banner units weaker. It's like, well, is there an excuse this time?
I think. Well, Kettei, did you have something to say before I go on?
Oh, yeah. So I was just gonna say, the last time we talked Saint, that so that talk went kind of like all over the community 4 months ago.
Yeah.
But remember in that talk, I don't know if you remember, but I told you, I play ZZZ because I love the game. I'm not a Kuro shill, I'm not a Hoyo shill. I will be pulling Yuno though, by the way. She's beautiful. But anyways, I'm not a Kuro shill, I'm not a Hoyo shill. I don't shill for any of these companies. I play ZZZ because I enjoy it. I love my community. And as long as I enjoy the game, I will play it. Now, if more stuff happens in the future that I need to be critical about, I will. But until the game feels like it's no longer worth playing, I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm gonna keep making content. It's just that simple.
I get that point of view, but I guess the thing is, I guess the framing that I would encourage you to have is that you might be the guy that holds out a lot longer, right? You might have like a higher tolerance for certain types of whatever before you're at that breaking point where you decide to quit. And I guess the thing is that I feel like there might be a lot of people currently in the community who don't have that level of tolerance that you do. And that is naturally, right? Careers, views, all of that. We're all talking about those over here, right? It is safe to say that HSR right now does not do very good on YouTube. It used to regularly have maybe double or triple the viewership that it has right now. And one of the big reasons for why HSR doesn't get the views that it used to is because people have quit the game because the end game requires you to pay money to do it. And so it's basically just like a lot of those creators are currently right now not doing like they're not getting the same sort of results that they were getting before, and a lot of it is due to the trajectory of the game. And so it's just like I guess it's like there are a lot of people that are still sticking around and stuff like that, but it's also just like, well, there's a lot of people that left while the CCs stick around. So it's kind of like I would just put yourself in the position of maybe like your viewers or maybe like something like that, just to like I guess get like a barometer for what you feel like you're like, maybe I don't have the biggest problem with it right now, but there are a bunch of people complaining about it. Because this is the thing, right?
But I get to see every day though. I stream almost daily, and I do a lot. I mean a lot of account help.
No,
I get to help the free to play and the low spin every single day. I see what they're going through every single day.
All I'm saying is your stream isn't the entire ZZZ community, right?
I understand
your stream is a small part of it. So there's gonna be like all those other pockets of like communities and stuff out there. So I'm just bringing to mind like have like that well-rounded point of view, have a good vibe or like a good vibe and a pulse check on the entire community, so that it's like this is the thing, right? I make videos on a bunch of different topics. Sometimes I make videos about stuff that I don't necessarily care that much about, but it's something that the community as a whole really cares about, right? And with that in mind, I make...
I'm sorry, but I saw this in chat. Just because someone said he's going to play the game that he enjoys does not make him a shill. Let's get that all clear right now. I'm tired of people throwing around this term shill just because someone likes the game. Shut your asses up.
Amen.
Okay?
Is there
That's
is
so
there is there
stupid.
is there a person in particular that you're calling out right now, Nix?
I'm just saying, like, in general, I've seen it for the past 30 minutes. Just because someone likes a game does not mean that they have to shill. They are shilling the game. You can
Guys.
like a game just because you like playing the game.
Freedom of speech. Okay, so I also, if you're gonna say you're exercising your freedom of speech, I'll exercise mine and tell you why you're a fucking idiot. Jean-Claude Van Cunt. All right, so this is the whole situation that's breaking down right now. Is A, the guy saying he just likes the game, and he'll play as long as liking the game doesn't outweigh the things that he doesn't like. Much like how there's a situation over here, right? Some people, they stay in relationships, right? Even if there's stuff they don't like about it, because currently the pros outweigh the cons. And right now, Kettei's just saying, the pros right now for me currently outweigh the cons, and once there's more cons, he'll quit. That's a fair thing to do as a content creator. And to like make this take that that guy's a shill just for saying he'll play a game as long as he likes it is, I'm just gonna be honest, it's kind of fucking ridiculous. I mean, you did exercise your freedom of speech, but this is one of the dumbest things I've ever read. This is like this ain't even a thing to use freedom of speech for.
Obviously, I completely agree with this. By the way, and I completely agree that like you're not a shill if you just want to play the game that you enjoy, and if you stop enjoying it, then you'll stop playing it. I feel exactly the same way. And I think, to be honest, it's what drove me to make the original video, because I was feeling like it was a little less fun, and I was like, if it continues down this path, I won't continue to enjoy it as much. Maybe I would quit, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. But anyway, I guess I stepped in to say something. I'm bringing myself off topic here to say we're a little off topic. I thought we were on point 3, talking about like what we're gonna put, what we're gonna send to the survey. You know?
Oh, okay. I feel okay. How about we get going on that list? We kind of like backtracked into how we're gonna react. How are we like looking to like react or like revisit this in the future? I mean, yeah, probably some actionable items does make a lot of sense. Let me kind of like backtrack. The main solutions that I think I heard brought up were looking into DA score threshold. I'll take notes. DA score thresholds, was that a big one?
Yeah, sure.
If HP is inflating, make sure low spenders or free-to-plays don't get caught in the crossfire of Hoyo versus Whales. Because I think that's part of what it is, right? The HP inflation over here is like Hoyo, like it feels more like Hoyo fighting Whales that are killing their DA bosses, and then like some low spenders are like getting caught in the crossfire to a degree. That feels like part of it as well, and it's like there's surely ways to make the content more challenging for Whales without any sort of like barriers or damage to free to plays or low spenders, that sort of stuff. I think that's a big one. What else? Let me see over here. Maybe less reliance on buffs, or like maybe even like DA buffs, or even like Shiyu defense environments to clear. Is that something that feels like it's a little bit too much, or is that not necessarily a concern? I just want to make sure that we're accurately portraying this.
I think well let's define what we're actually targeting here. Are we targeting just Deadly Assault or Endgame in general?
I think it could be in-game in general.
It should be in-game in general, because I believe that there is a new in-game mode in the works, so it won't just be DA and Shiyu in the future.
Okay, so that's kind of hard to pinpoint because we don't know what that end game entails. Because Shiyu and Deadly Assault are two different modes just entirely. Like one is time based and the other one is more so like, well, they're both time based, but you approach them differently, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, one is time. One is like how much damage what you can do. The other is how fast can you deal damage.
So how would we approach that to cover all, or are we going to target one and then target the other one? I think that should be defined first.
Okay, so I think the main thing is right now, I don't know how many people, right, are complaining about the Shiyu defense, right? I saw some individuals saying, oh, you got Miasmic Hugo in here, he's an absolute pain in the ass. And then I see other people saying you can actually defensive assist 7 of his attacks in a row and his miasma instantly disappears, right? So it doesn't necessarily sound like there's too much of a problem because they've added more ways in Shiyu to deal with the miasma. That, like, it seems like they're building it into some of the kits. Doesn't that, like, I think they mainly did with like the Heretic Jester boss and then kind of like moved on from there. So I don't think that doesn't sound too bad. I would dare say it's like DA sounds like most of the concerns, but if there are any line items for Shiyu that you guys have top of mind, I don't think it's a bad idea to talk about those.
Okay, so then we'll target DA then. ALG, I think I interrupted you earlier. Did you have something to say?
Yeah, but it was like for the next thing on the list. So yeah, I wrote down buff perception skewing, and then boss time wasting was the next thing I was going to add.
Okay, so let me ask a question.
it's actually
Go ahead.
that's actually interesting. I need to find it. I will do my best to find it right now. If I can't, I'll ask Fish to send me the link. But there was a thing on Billy where someone translated something. It was like a post talking about time wasting mechanics, and the guy was saying that Hoyo factors in that into the boss and like how much HP they should give the boss for like the clear. And I was like, I was like just reading the, briefly reading the translated thing, and I was like, that's interesting. I'll do my best to find it right now.
Yeah,
I was going to talk about that because I was going to ask you, ALG, when you say boss time wasting, do you consider a quote unquote time wasting phase to be okay if there is a reward that is something that rewards you for getting through the phase? So I'll give you an example. Let's say Defiler. There's a phase where you can't hit her at all, right? Where she's like doing the air slashes. If you parry all 3 of the air slashes, you get 25 days just instantly. Would you say that if a time wasting mechanic is something that rewards you well, is it okay?
I think it depends on 2 things. I think it depends on how much time it wastes, and is it fun? Because I would argue that the fight with the Defiler, is a relatively fun fight, and that section where you get the additional days when she goes in the air, like in the first half of the fight, when you have to do the defensive assists, is kind of fine. But then in the second half of the fight, when you have to defensive assist against the shield bearers, it feels like too much. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Well, I will also. There's another thing too, though. Against the shield bearers, you do get free decibels and free days as well. Because when you get done with that, you also get I believe 25 days? Is it 25 or 30 days? Yeah, right. 25 free days completely added on for free to the to Defiler. And you also get free decibels. So what a lot of people don't know is if your DPS doesn't have their ultimate yet, you can give all 4 parries to your DPS. 4 defensive assists is a shit ton of decibels. So you are being rewarded for decibels and a lot of free days. And you also get performance points. So that's 3 things that they're giving you for free, but you aren't able to do damage in that time.
You can also attack the shield bearers to get, like, if you land a hit, you get decibels. You can just manually attack those as well if you want to farm more decibels too. It's not like it's fully invulnerable for those to just not be hit. So there are ways around that. It's just, do you feel like that's too much time, of a time waster compared to the reward to it?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're getting into maybe we're getting into like pretty subjective takes here, but like I don't think that that's fun. Like, I don't think that defensive assist against the shield bearers is fun. I don't think dodging miasma fiends, the little circle things, I don't think that's fun. But I think maybe we're too deep subjectively here, and we can just take it off the list.
I wasn't trying to take away from your opinion if it's fun or not. I was just saying that they are giving you stuff. It's not like they're wasting your time and you don't get anything. They are giving you stuff, but like, that's absolutely fair. It's your opinion if you find it fun or not. absolutely, right? That's your
Mhm.
opinion. I'm not taking that away, but they do give you things for free, right? They do give you free days, they give you free decibels, and they give you performance points.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, look, we can take it off the list. Like, I'm not super for it or against it. I just don't think some of the time wasting is particularly fun.
Right.
Maybe
I would say
that's a subjective take.
I would say to a degree, it does feel like a lot of these time-wasting attacks that you're talking about are not really like... They don't feel like what ZZZ had prior. Maybe like, think of like maybe like the 1.x versions. It reminds me a little bit about like you get like taken out of the game and now you're in like a random event in RuneScape. That's what some of these mechanics feel like. Like the genie just came out of the lamp and like teleported you, and now you're like dodging random shit from the sky for like the miasmic fiend, right? You're not really like playing ZZZ anymore. You're playing like a different game, and it's kind of just like, I don't know. Some people might be into it, like, you know, doing something completely entirely different from the regular gameplay for like, and each individual boss has its own mini game. I can also see why some people are just like, and this is kind of weird. This is kind of off. And yeah, it's just, I can see why some people have opinions about it. It's just, let's just say the first time I saw the miasmic fiends mechanic, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, what game am I playing? And that was my take seeing it the first time. I was like, what? This isn't ZZZ.
So I guess the thing would be, you can put it back on the list, ALG, but I guess the way to say it would be more intuitive or creative time quote unquote time wasting mechanics.
Yeah, but like,
Because you said you did say your issue was that it didn't feel fun. So if they had it more of a dynamic part of those phases, then would you like be more
but
okay
like,
with it?
To Saint's point, then does it end up feeling less like ZZZ at that point as well? And then it's all like quite subjective. I don't know.
I'm about like retaining the feel of the game. Like, my suggestion would be like, have a phase in a boss fight where like you become the Bang Boo and you're in like the fucking, you know, like the Fall Guys mode. And like you have to like, however you do in like the Fall Guys mode for like a little bit or something like that, because they put it into the story of the game, right? That has like some sort of like impact on the fight. Like something like that where it feels like I'm playing ZZZ and like that whole Fall Guys mode feels like it. It'd also be hilarious shit to have like the Bang Boo helping you in combat by playing the mini game, and then it's like however well EOS does it is like you get a bonus. Like I think like that'd be kind of funny.
No,
that'd be kind of sick, to be honest.
I'm gonna be real. I'm fucking trash at Fall Guys, nigga. If I had to play Fall Guys in the middle of my goddamn DA boss, I might crash out.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, I think it'd be more interesting than whatever the fuck the miasmic fiend has going on, man. Like, what is that, bro? They introduced that to you in the story, and it came with an MLA essay. I was like reading it, and then like just watching like lightning come down on my screen. I was just like, what's going on?
And also, like, just to support the point that it's a little bit like the time wasting aspect of it, just a tiny little bit more. Look, I've taken it off the list. I don't even know why I'm still talking about it, but
I was just curious to see what because that time wasting, I've heard that so many times, but everyone has a different point of view on it. So I was just curious to pick your brain.
Yeah, but I guess also
think
you pulled for a character, but it didn't. You know, like it doesn't matter. You don't get to play them for that 25-30 seconds that you're dodging the little circles. You know, there's elements. There's lots of elements to it that just feels bad, man.
I would dare say that
I think that's worth mentioning though, because like if you like it's a big part of your enjoyment of the game. I think that's worth something that they should be like, okay, we want to make these bosses more dynamic, more interactive, instead of it just being a mash fest for damage. So how do we do that while also still promoting the ability to play your characters?
Yeah,
and that's something that needs to be like that's a really big part of a hack and slash genre type of game.
Not putting in the mechanics that they have in Shiyu. I don't know what the fuck that little fat fucker does when he like turns invulnerable. He like gains miasma, then turns invulnerable for like 10 seconds and just bounces on you. You can't do anything, right? You just have to dodge them.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, it's
You
just
gotta
like
dodge.
shit. Like, why is like take that out of the game? Like take that shit. Like when you got what is it, the Palicus? Oh, I mean, fuck it. Take the Palicus and fucking shit out too. You're just sitting there watching a cutscene and dodging for 10 seconds. They literally don't have HP bars that you can hit. It's like I guess the thing is there might be a little bit of conflation because when I hear what ALG is saying, the way that you're describing the DA mechanics, they don't sound that bad because there's a level of interactivity. But when you think about iframe stages or like iframe phases in Shiyu, they're all dog shit. Like, you're just asking yourself, why are they doing this? Why are they there? Why does this guy with the electricity and the spear, who's like invulnerable to stuns, why does he also just turn invulnerable in the for 5 seconds out of nowhere? Why does Jane turn invulnerable for 2 seconds out of nowhere? I feel like that reputation from Shiyu floors where they just do that for no reason, maybe bleeding into DA a little bit, because it sounds like DA isn't nearly as bad as what Shiyu is offering on that iframe stuff. That's just my take, though.
I can just give you my personal opinion. It's again, gamer, completely fair that you don't find the Defiler stuff fun, right? That's completely fair. But this is not me shitting on Genshin. This is just me going back years ago. Years ago, playing Genshin, there was this worm enemy added to Spiral Abyss, and that is the kind of time waste that I despise. He literally goes underground, and when he goes underground, you can't hit him. You can't do shit. There's nothing you can do. You have to wait for him to come out of the ground to hit him, and then he goes right back underground again.
We know.
That's the kind of time. Yeah, we know. That's the kind of time waste that I despise. At least with Defiler, for me, yeah, I can understand how it's annoying, but at least you get to do something, right? You're not just literally just sitting there doing nothing until she's vulnerable again. At least you get to do something. And I much prefer that kind of time waste than just watching a fucker go underground and just have to twinkle my thumbs and just wait for him to come up again.
I would dare. Yeah, this is the thing. It's like you're literally describing half the movesets in Shiyu defense, but it's they're not as long as the Wii Nut. But that's literally what it is. They turn invulnerable. You can't do anything. So this feels like more of a Shiyu problem to me, at least.
I wouldn't say half. I think that's a stretch, because
Okay.
the only ones that I can say that do have those mechanics would be Palicus.
Oh yeah, you're definitely right there. Yeah.
Like Palicus and I can't even think of his name, but the big frog. That's really the only two that I can think of. The closest one to that would be Hugo. When you're fighting Miasma Hugo, and he's doing the time slows, but that's still interactive and it gives you a reward if you do all three. So I don't think it's most. I just think the ones that you see feel like so much shit.
You're gonna remember the negative experiences the most. Like most people, they're gonna remember Jane because she dodged their ultimate and it did 0 damage, even though you thought it was going to. Then yeah. It's just your negative experiences, right? You're gonna remember them a lot more. And I guess I think it speaks volumes that people think this much about those negative experiences in Shiyu, because it's just I think any mechanic where you feel like your damage literally disappeared and you also feel like it's not your fault, you feel like it's the enemy's or the dev's fault or the enemy's fault that your damage disappeared, you're just okay, this is stupid. So yeah, just minimizing that, because there's no counterplay, it's just dodge. It's not fun to just sit there and not deal damage for 20 seconds.
So add interactivity, or more of a game sense of interactivity in these quote unquote stall mechanics, phases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that works for me. Okay. Instead of HP inflation, I think it's better for you guys to use your general broader term. Just extended fights or something, like fights taking longer to clear, a lot of factors, HP inflation, resistance changes, damage, like just broad damage type reductions. Like, I don't know, bro. I think that having a like tagline where it says this enemy takes 25% less damage from anomaly is like actually malpractice. That's my take. I think that if a boss has a stat line like that, that's actually just malpractice. Like, why is that? Why is that even in there when you already got elemental resistances? Or if that's gonna be in there, it shouldn't have elemental resistances. I think it should be one or the other. Damage type resistance or elemental. If an enemy has both, what are you doing?
You were to say something good today?
Oh yeah. So I know that I feel, and I believe Jay Stern as well, feel it was a little too egregious. I believe that there was a way to make attackers better on Defiler without nerfing anomaly damage that bad. Now, again, there will be the very, very small vocal minority. They'll say, "Oh, I crushed it with my Yanagi. Oh, I crushed it with my Alice." But those are very few and far between players, right? Most anomaly players are they say that it feels rough against Defiler. Not impossible, it just feels rough. But I do believe there was a way to balance where Defiler was better for attackers without nerfing anomaly that much.
I mean, it's just the thing, right? Like, fuck it. Make it attack agents deal 25% more damage to him, right? Like, even, I guess this is the thing. It's just like, even like psychologically too, right? It's, you could actually have the minus 25% damage, anomaly damage, and then that could actually functionally be the same as plus 25 attack damage. But it's like, they're only showing you that your damage is going down, not that the other one's getting raised. And like, psychologically, you feel like it's less fucked up if one is getting raised instead of the other getting bumped down. That's like my point of view on it. And I guess it's just like, I don't know why they're just so upfront about, yeah, if you use this damage type, go fuck yourself.
So then what you want is there should be more positive reinforcement to do something than negative reinforcement to do something.
I just feel like that's just a general thing you should do unless you're dealing with like dumb kids. Then again, that makes sense why Hoyoverse is doing negative reinforcement. Think about the target audience.
It goes back to what ALG said before. Oh,
thank you, Nix. Yeah, go.
Yeah, it goes back to what ALG said before of like, you know, I want the game to feel fun. It's fun to feel rewarded for like doing something. So like if I could play this with an anomaly team, but if I'm encouraged to use attack units, that is positively motivating me to build an attack team and do this. Doesn't stop me from playing anomaly, but it encourages me to try something else versus discouraging me from doing what I've already been doing. And that's
exactly
not fun.
Right? And it's just like, why not just give people extraordinary performance when they play their attack teams and then baseline performance for all the other teams and then use that to show the... It's just, I mean, obviously, right? People are going to tell me to stop. People are telling me you're going to get off topic. That's kind of what Wuthering Waves does, right? Where they have buffs that just make the on-banner character feel really strong, and then everyone else has a baseline level of strength. And that gets pretty much retained across the endgame. It's one person gets their time in the sun to be really, really, really good, and then everyone else just has a baseline level of performance. But it's kind of like right now in ZZZ, to a degree, it's almost like these guys have a baseline level of performance, and then everyone else is getting fucked.
Honestly,
And it's
can I just I gotta say I'm so impressed with you, by the way, because you almost went like what was this, like a 2-hour call without mentioning Wuthering Waves? I think you did a really good job, man. Good work.
Actually, I think I mentioned Wuthering Waves first because I said,
yeah,
you know.
no, he
Yeah,
said,
you
he
did,
said,
you
you
did,
know.
yeah,
I'm legally allowed to talk about it as much as I want now because he mentioned he said it first. It's in the contract. It's in the contract that we all signed.
Bro, I mean, I can't lie. She's the reason I've been playing the game a little bit more. You know, I get the master right, bro.
You horny ass fucking.
Bro, I am a Ishtar fan through and through. You know my girl, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But I think that ties perfectly back to what made us go and get into Zenless in the first place. They had a dev talk with Street Fighter devs, and it was the head director of Zenless, and what he said his goal was and his dream was for the game. His dream was for players to be able to express themselves. And the best way to do that is with positive reinforcement. They're releasing all these characters and different ways to, play the game. You have an immaculate foundational combat system that lets you do so many different things with it. You have different like play styles with double DPS. You have aftershocks. You have anomaly. You have raw DPS, burst DPS. Like there's a bunch of different ways to play the game. So the best way to reinforce those ways to be creative and play the game is to have positive reinforcement when you're trying to promote something versus negative reinforcement when you're trying to promote something.
This is
And
the
if they just
only
started
thing that
doing that, then that would change the entire narrative of the game. It would push the narrative of the game even further than it's already been doing.
I think you bring up I think you bring up an amazing point, right? People don't want to be forced into doing things, or people don't. I mean, it's even back to ALG's point as well. People don't like doing things that they don't want to do, and so you can get people to do things by making them want to do it, right? But it feels like right now Hoyo seems to be doing a lot of negative reinforcement of like, well, you can't play this. Go play this instead. But to a degree, players might not feel like they're making that decision out of their own choice to go play that other thing. It's almost like their hand is being like forced a little bit because everything else kind of sucks. And I know that's like a generalized take, but I do think it feels like that's a dynamic that's going on when it literally doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like, I think that's probably one of the for me, that feels like one of the best things to come out of this conversation is that it's like, I feel like there's a really clear way that we can directly say, look, hey, instead of debuffing the anomaly, why don't you just buff attack and leave anomaly where it is? Because then you're rewarding pulling a character if you want to pull a character, but then you're not punishing everyone who doesn't pull the character.
Yeah,
and that feels like the right way to do it. I've added it as like a separate like thought thing. Honestly, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get this put together tonight, but I can. Holy shit! I feel like I'm at my 9 to 5, boys. I'll circulate it later.
I need to mention this real quick. Hold on, I need to mention this. So we came to this point of what I just said of like how we need positive reinforcement to encourage people to do this, and now I'm seeing people say that's basically just babying. Let me read some of this stuff. People won't be rewarded for minimal effort, or that's the point of a skill. Just quit the game otherwise. This is the problem, because like now you're basically doing things like it's at the end of the day it's a game, and like that is the most important thing.
This game should be fun. The game should be fun.
This is the hard part. I do think that the community does have a very vocal, like, elitist issue. Maybe, like, I'm pretty sure there are some people that can echo the same sort of, like, thoughts. There is a very big issue with, like, vocal elitists. And it's like, I don't know what it is, but these guys, I feel like they when they see that someone can't clear anymore, like when they get the news that somebody like only got 6 stars in Shiyu, or they only got like 30k total in DA, I feel like these guys like celebrate. I feel like these guys feel happy. They like crack open like a beer or like a Diet Sprite, depending on how old they are. And they fucking start cheering when they hear that other people are like losing out on polychromes. I don't know what else is going on, because like that's just what it seems like. Because you didn't work for it. You didn't try hard like me, bro. Like, look at you, loser. It's just like, oh, fuck.
Like I think the big takeaway is if you feel like you should be like it shouldn't be this way, that is perfectly fine. but the reward should be, I did it. I accomplished my own goals. Maybe some people don't want to play attack, and that's fine. Should you be punished, like heavily punished, for not playing what you want to play, or for not playing what they want you to play? No, you shouldn't. It's a game. And saying just quit the game, that's not an answer. Like, yeah, you could just quit the game, but if I love the game because I get to play something that I really enjoy about the game, like you shouldn't be getting crucified for saying I don't like playing this. So like, hey, that's the whole point of my earlier topic of this is a live service game. Live service games are built to change.
And
It is
ZZZ
live,
has-
like it's not like the old times where you just got a game and that's the way it was. It is a live service game, and if you have an opinion about something, you are free to speak out on it. Simple as that.
I also think the thing is as well is that like I think the community is changing positively in a way. Like when I released my video about, you know, the concerns about the future for the endgame, I kind of expected it to be a bit 50-50 in terms of like how people felt about it, but I think
I tried to tell you it wouldn't.
yeah, I think the community was ready to hear it for the most part. So I do think that elitist subsect of the ZZZ community is, for better or worse, either what's the word to say this? They're either coming around and seeing,
waking up.
Yeah, they're either waking up, yeah, or they're or they're pissing off. Either way is fine.
Mm-hmm. I think the problem is definitely solving itself, right? I think the like ratio on like your video, I think it's in like the 90s or something like that, maybe the high 80s, depending on whether or not some of them have actually woken up, is kind of like indicative of that, right? And I think that right now, this is kind of like what I meant talking before about how the community is like ready for like certain types of discussion, and the community is looking towards you guys, because there's an opportunity here to make this a very productive sort of situation, right? And unfortunately, the history surrounding this topic hasn't necessarily been productive, but it is 100%. It has gotten worse in the past 6 months since the conversation started, right? So I really think that like just what I see on ALG's screen over here looks fantastic, right? And I'm also kind of like getting into, unfortunately, like the wrap up part because I got stuff I need to do. But yeah, I think just taking a look at what ALG has on the screen, this looks awesome to me. Happy to talk with you guys at any time over like the course of just like whatever, just to like rehash any issues, see if there's any progress, stuff like that. Because like I'm gonna be real here, right? I think this conversation was overall pretty productive. I think that this conversation, we, you know, got out a lot of like the potentially marginalized or like misunderstood takes that a lot of people had coming into the issue. And I think like we clarified pretty much everything that needed to be clarified. I don't think that there's anything really like swept away or like, you know, that's like that we need to like unearth. I guess this is basically just like the last cry of, is there anything else that we should have talked about that we didn't talk about yet?
And be honest, because I see a lot of people typing, you know, no, it hasn't. This hasn't been productive, incorrect. So what's the problem? Because that is the whole point. What is the problem? Speak up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that
Yeah,
on my
you say-
side. Yeah, on my side. I'm seeing it. Yeah, look,
I guess I don't see it in my chat either. Like where you guys see, like where you guys follow, you guys have like some mean chatters, like what? Because like I literally have ALGs open right now. ALGs is just chill. Mine's chill too.
I'm looking through mine right now. Where did you see that, Nix?
Right here, where someone said, let's see. Well, first of all, they're arguing about EO in your chat right now. This conversation started trash, but came around. That was good. Incorrect. This MF just circled back to Age of Stardom Endgame moment, talking about some productive. Like,
I
think it's alright.
I think it's okay. And this is the thing, guys. It's like, if someone's gonna bring up another Hoyo game in the context of ZZZ, like you guys I think it's weird if you start freaking out if that happens. Right? I think it's a little weird to freak out about that. Once again, it is not being done to like say that the game is bad. It's being done to say like, hey, don't let your game become like this. I think that's a fair thing when they're both made by the same company with the same CEO. I don't know. I don't know why people are like schizoing out about that.
I thought it was good. I think.
Yeah, I think this is fine.
We got
I
pretty
think
good
we're in a
stuff,
good
so-
spot. We got some good points. We got some stuff to put together. I'll put something together and then I'll share it with you guys, and then we can come to agreement with any changes, and then we can recirculate it. Maybe like the plan will be for the ZZZ to make YouTube posts about it, so that like a lot of communities
Guys.
will see it in some way.
You want to? The great part about this is you guys could farm this so hard. I'm gonna like I was hoping to like upload the vid, right? Because like with all the like discussion and stuff going on, I think you guys can like make follow-ups on this, make videos about this, keep this discussion going. Like this is the odd phenomenon that I have, or that I've created, is that like sometimes the worse or the more predatory the game becomes, sometimes that could be. My bad.
Wait,
I might have fucked.
It's like
Yeah,
that.
you
Y'all good?
you just cut out
It
there, dude.
happens like
Y'all
once
good?
or twice every
Okay,
stream.
yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah, it happens every stream. It just it took a while. It was like charging up for that one. The phenomenon that I discovered is that the worse, like the more predatory the game becomes, oftentimes like the more content you're able to make. Because previously, maybe you didn't have a lot to say about a Shi reset or like a DA reset. Now the DA resets sucks, and now you have like multiple videos you can make on the topic, and it's a similar vein, right? Much like how when Whimpering Waste had its awful reset, I farmed like 4 videos on it within like a week, and it's just, it can actually be like a good thing, and I think there's a great opportunity here for like all of you guys to farm the shit out of this. So it's just like, don't like this is good for your channels at least, maybe not for the game.
Wait, I don't participate in much in game for Woo-Wah right now. I'm still trying to. I do tower sometimes, but Whimpering Waste, is that what people call Wee-Wah?
Yeah, that's like the AoE wave based mode. Yeah, they had a patch where they introduced a fuck ton of HP inflation. We're just like, oh, this is a little bit fucked up, guys. They put in a half measure in the most recent patch to add in new mechanics that definitely make it easier, but it's like they added in like a premium buff. Imagine like it's one of the DA buffs and it's useless. It's worse than like a gold or like a purple buff or like a common buff. Their gold premium level one. So naturally it needs a little bit of work, some additional cooking. We've already given the feedback for it. It's like it went really bad. It got slightly better, but still kind of shit. And we're just like waiting for the next one, which hopefully fixes it for good.
And you're saying,
I'm still farming
okay,
it though, basically.
and you're
I'm
saying
still
like
making videos about it.
because it had a rough update, you made a lot of videos off of it.
Yeah, because people
that
are
what you're
always
saying?
talking about how like not great or not good it is, right? And so I get to make like follow-up vids, trying out different teams to see how dog shit it actually is. Much like how, right, you could be like, upload some gameplay videos, get some of that, trying out like bad teams in the DA or like bad matchups. Or is Anomaly actually impossible? A little bit of clickbait stuff like that. I don't know how you guys feel like running it, but it's just like, it's like just the phenomenon of something being absurdly overtuned or hard, and like people being morbidly curious about how bad it is an extremely farmable situation for CCs. So whenever there's a bad Shi reset or a bad DA reset, I'm gonna be real, guys. It's like it is like, you can be like, oh man, this sucks. The game is being more predatory. But it's also like, oh fuck, we get to farm this because people are really going to want to hear about how bad this is. Take your opportunities, boys, as they come. And I think there's the main takeaway is take the opportunities. There's a big one here.
Yeah, okay.
Not the
Thank
lessons on grifting. This isn't grifting, okay? This is the opposite of grifting. You're talking about the issues and seeing, you know, what the possibilities are. I'm not saying like promote HP inflation. I'm not saying like promote predatory mechanics. It's just if there stuff is going on, just make content regarding the issue, and because that's what people will want to see at that time.
I'm not
Amazing
a
farm
CP.
opportunity.
I just be chilling with my video games, and I y'all got it.
So
yeah,
I guess that's like the wrap up for all of us over here. Hopefully we're all feeling good. I think the conversation was once again amazing, and yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to come on. And this was an awesome one. I thought it was really fun. Great crew.
Cool. Yeah, no, thanks for the chat, guys.
Yeah,
It was real. Good work. All right.
And
Bye.
Yep.
All right, sounds
All right,
fantastic,
peace.
everyone.
All
All right,
right.
peace.
Peace
See
out.
y'all.
Bye. I'll be honest, that was like super productive. Yeah, the bit at the end was a little weird. About farming it. Because I was like, it's not really my thing. Like, I don't really care about farming anything because I don't upload that many videos. So it's not really a thing for me. I don't really need to farm anything. But I didn't want to say that because of but yeah, I'll just say it now. Yeah. It was fun though. Yeah. I think he was just messing around, if I'm totally honest with you. But I'll be honest, there was some stuff that Saintontas like started to bring up that could have been potentially inflammatory, but I think we all handled it pretty well. I also think, to be honest as well, like he had some pretty good points. Like as a player who I think he played all the way up to 2.0, 2.1. And yeah, he actually made some pretty decent points, honestly. And I think it was good to talk about this openly among friends. And yeah, I'm fully open to the idea of let's send more feedback. Yeah, absolutely. He has good points is how he says them. Yeah, he can be a bit brash, I think. And I think that's why people don't like him. But yeah. He quit the game, he started in 2.0 again. Oh, okay, well, yeah, it is what it is. Please don't drama farm. Yeah, I don't intend to. And yeah, and I think this call was like the exact opposite of drama farming. It was kind of putting drama to bed. It was like putting the drama away. It was saying, there is no more drama. The drama is done. Let's talk about how to improve ZZZ. And I think that was good. I think that was a good conversation. Do you guys think something positive from the game will come from this? I think it's good that CCs will talk about this. I will talk about this. Kettei will talk about this. Nyx isn't really a CC, but like, he will talk about it, I guess. And then hopefully other people will see this and also talk about this. But I also think as well that like this won't just be like a stream situation. I think I fully intend to write up a revised, a revised feedback message in some way, including the points that we made on the stream there, and then, for lack of a better word, like circulate it among CCs, get them to make amendments to it, and then rally every fucking community to send the same fucking shit. So what's the strategy? I think that is the strategy, right? The strategy is that we write. Well, I'll write it up off stream. I'll circulate it among content creators. Obviously, it'll probably go through Kettei first, and then we'll circulate it among other ZZZ CCs, and then we'll see how everyone feels about submitting it as feedback. Yeah. How do you exactly send feedback? I don't really understand. If you could show. Yeah, 2 secs. Yeah, of course. And so in the game here, you can go to more, and there's a button here for feedback. So yeah, you literally just pause menu, more, and then feedback. And you can send feedback at any time. It opens like it in a separate web page here. Suggestions feedback or issue feedback? Oh, no, that's issue feedback. Suggestions feedback would be here. I think this is where I submitted it before. Yeah, it's a 1,000 character limit, and you can add whatever you want in here. If we abuse that feature, it might go straight to the bin, though. Yeah. Maybe make a YouTube post and ask for the feedback the viewers, subscribers are going to give out. Yeah, the problem is, though, is that, like, holy fuck, that's bright. It absolutely is. It's so bright. It's absolutely so bright. Holy Saintontas raid. Hello. Hello, Raiders. How's it going? We're just talking about how to send feedback. And then, honestly, I'm also probably wrapping up shortly as well. But yeah, like it's nice to see you. Welcome in. Much appreciated. I was also just saying as well how it was a pretty productive conversation because we kind of came out on the other side feeling like, you know, we have a lot. We got a lot of stuff that we can actually talk about, and I think this is really good. Raid into flashbang? Yeah, I know. I was getting flashbanged. It's crazy. I absolutely agree with ALG, but bring up the biggest hater ZZZ into a dialogue about improving the game is almost anti-productive action that could be done. Yeah, but I think hater or not, like I think he was a player, and I think his feedback is valid. I don't think that's crazy. I really don't think that's crazy. I think honestly as well, and I think we were all saying this in chat earlier. I actually think that it was a really productive conversation, and I think Saint made some really good points. The stream was not that bad. Yeah, exactly. W's. It was fine. I don't agree with the anomaly debuff part. Anomalies teams still rock and don't require effort to clear content. I think, have you... So, here's the question, though. Have you tried to run Anomaly into Defiler? Because Anomaly into Defiler is fucking horrible. Because Defiler has an Anomaly debuff where it reduces Anomaly build-up by 25%. So if you're using Anomaly characters, some of the very key things that you need to do is to, like, you know, like build up that Anomaly. And it takes longer. It takes substantially longer. So it just feels horrible to play, honestly. And here's the thing. I can still clear Defiler now with my Yanagi. I can still clear Defiler right now with my Yanagi, who is M0, no engine. I can still hit 20k. But I have to put her with Nicole and Astra. I have to put her in the wheelchair, which means she doesn't even get her additional ability. I've tried to run other Anomaly teams, like with Vivian and stuff. It's just not enough damage. Because like then you're building up two sets of Anomaly. Whereas if you just run Yanagi as an electric DPS, not necessarily worrying as much about the Anomaly, it actually works out better. Yeah, I didn't know that. That sucks. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah. What about Miyabi, Vivian, Sukaku? What, against Defiler? It's yeah, the ice resistance is the ice resistant 40%? Yeah, it's not. We're cooked. Like it's already cooked off the rip. That's cooked. Are you pulling Lucia or Idari? I've talked about this a bunch. I have talked about this a bunch, but what I'm gonna say is, hang on. What I'm gonna say is I've been talking about this for a while, and what you should be doing is you should not be picking one character in a patch. You should be pulling both characters in a patch, even if you're F to P, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So, and this is where a lot of like the low spend and free to play problems come in, is that like what Toyoverse tend to do and what they have done in Zenless Zone Zero is they specifically are hard selling agents. They're putting two agents back to back that are really good together. So what you should be doing is you should be full saving for a patch and then pulling both characters next patch. And that's the way that you probably should be dealing with it. Yeah, teams are expensive. They're back to back. Yeah. And this comes back to the kind of way that, and again, like, you know, no shade, but it comes back to the way that Josh and EO were approaching the problem a couple of days ago, which is they were saying, well, how do we, help players to deal with this problem? And I was coming at it from, well, how do we tell Hoyoverse about this problem? And honestly, they're just two different arguments. And like the thing is I'll continue to make videos around like who should you poll, who should, like and stuff like shit like that. And I'll continue to talk about this stuff. But yeah, considering the fact that we are all players and we are all enjoying the game, yeah, they tend to back-to-back characters. So if we think about 2.0, Yixuan and Jufufu, incredible teammates. If we think about 2.1, Yuzuha and Alice, incredible teammates. If we think about 2.2, Seed and Orphe, incredible teammates. So we're getting all of these incredible teammates on the same team, and they're all coming. Yeah, we're getting all of these incredible teammates running back to back. And yeah, what we should be doing is, free to play and low spend players, you should be full saving for a patch and then pulling in the following patch. And the problem is with doing that is that you can't foresee what's going to be on Deadly Assault. You can't foresee what's going to be on Sheer Defense. So you kind of just have to pull the pair of characters that you prefer and then cross your fingers that it's going to be meta relevant. And I think that's part of why it's just sometimes a case of, well, it feels bad, man, right? Because like you specifically like waited so that you could pull a pair of characters, and now you're in a position where that pair of characters gets cucked in the meta, and then we're cooked. Yeah, and you just got to pray you don't get fucked. Yeah, exactly. Should I pull Lucia for Yixuan or skip for next bundle? If you already have Yixuan, you're probably... Yeah, there is some foresight for at least one patch ahead. Yeah, that's true, Razor. Yeah, we can tend to see like what's coming on ahead. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, boys, like I said I was going to finish stream at midnight. I know I also said that I was going to do account help today, but we're not now. It's too late. Yeah, like I also feel bad that we just got raided into, but yeah, I have work tomorrow, real work. But I will also circulate. I will write something and I will circulate it among CCs. We'll provide our feedback on it, and then we'll go from there. It'll be good. It'll be really good. And then we will... I don't know how we'll roll it out or how we'll... Jesus Christ. Corpo ALG just keeps coming out, man. I don't know. You can raid forward. I will. Anyway. We still need to... Yeah. Just very quickly need to say goodnight. In the only way that we do. I'm getting an echo. Anyway, it was a good stream. Way longer of a conversation than I thought it was going to be. But I think we made good progress. I think it was a fruitful discussion, and I'm very, very happy we had it. So, good stuff. Good times. Give me a few. Let's see who we got available to raid. Ah, shit. Do I even have it open? Oh. Wait. I don't know. Right, YouTube. Where are you going? If she's of age, then we all good, but still cutting it close at 18. I'm fucking tired of all these damn children in these games. I kind of want to raid Josh a little bit, but we haven't talked on stream. No, you know what? Let's raid into Josh. Go and say hi. I think it's a show of good faith. Right, I'm turning YouTube off.